we signed some young players at the beginning of the year last year, Spurs, which we had to blood. I just know the demands of Thursday, Sunday football, particularly.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Big article on that today. We'll get into it very shortly. Also today, is Mbappe out of touch with reality? Do the playoffs need a bit of a shake-up? Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's Sam Matterface, Troy Deeney and Martin Keown. We're here on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
It is the end of the international break and the Saltmeister is absent because he's on another golfing trip. So we thought, who could we slip into his shoes with the same level of enthusiasm, saltiness, banter and impeccable dress sense? And when we couldn't come up with anybody, we decided we'd bring in Martin Keown. Hello.
That's really underwhelming. Welcome, isn't it, Sam?
How are you?
And then you wonder why I have a go at you.
Never have a go at me. People don't realise how close we really are.
I like the Fred Perry top.
Thank you. I liked your jacket. Do you know, I saw a jacket like that yesterday. I was tempted to buy it. I didn't, but I was tempted.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had actually an eventful 24 hours. I went to watch River Dance.
I heard this. How was it?
And absolutely superb. 30 years. Remember Michael Flatley back in the day, Eurovision Song Contest, 95. as with obviously my Irish roots, I was really proud watching the Celtic. The music is fantastic. Some of the dancing has now gone to another level. So yeah,
Ever tried that sort of dancing yourself?
No, we were not. I went ballroom dancing with my mum when I was a kid.
Did you?
But she never took me Irish dancing. Strange. She's from Galway. Never took me. So missed out. Maybe I missed out on being an amazing dancer.
You could have been.
I once saw Michael Flatley training and warming up before a performance. And he had the speed tap record at the time. It was incredible to watch him live, this close. The speed of his feet was amazing.
There are people right now working on AI memes of you doing the river dance.
No, they're booking tickets for the river dance. That's what they're doing.
And by the time we finish this show, someone would have sent us one on social media of you in your Arsenal kit doing the river dance. I'm sure of it. Might be Troy,
yeah. My red boots on them.
Right, okay. So much to talk about today. Ange Postecoglou is back and he's wasting no time in setting the record straight on his sensational Tottenham sacking, just months after guiding Spurs to the long-awaited European glory. And once again, when he spoke to the media yesterday, trophies was the watchword.
It's what I've done my whole career, and that's what I want to try and do here. And from that point of view, like I said, looking at sort of the opportunity that exists here is that every club wants to be successful for sure, but what I've seen over the last few years is since the president took over the club is that those ambitions are backed up with actions, and it's perfect conditions for me.
Okay, that was me talking yesterday. Nottingham Forest manager Ange Postecoglou goes back to North London to take on Arsenal live on talkSPORT tomorrow. Kicks off at 12:30. Look, he sort of talked yesterday about knowing that the axe was coming, and he sort of didn't think it was that much of a surprise. There's been a lot of talk about matching the ambition of the owner this time, and he actually even had a little bit of a joke, actually. I thought it was quite good, that he might have to win a trophy in his first season this time in order to survive for a second season. What can he achieve at Nottingham Forest, especially in a division where traditionally it's a bit of a closed shop, Troy?
Yes, but I think that Forest have done really well. I think I've been listening to Simon a lot this week. It's interesting how his point has changed. I think Nuno, made it clear, didn't he, that he wasn't happy and he wanted to leave, and ultimately got his wish. I think for most of us within football would look at it stylistically. It's completely different to what Nottingham Forest are usually doing, setting up with a counter-attacking team. But I actually think they've got the players now that they could, from an attacking point of view, if Ange is willing to tweak it, which he did towards the end of his Spurs tenure, that they could actually be very successful. And I think they're going to be looking at the European Cup as something that they can win. It's not as strong as it has been over the years. And you see a poor Man United and Tottenham team got to the final last year.
Well, he said he isn't wedded to that system. He's not dogmatic about style, despite the fact that that's the narrative that surrounds him. And let's be clear, like you said, he did adapt and change towards the end of the season, especially towards the European latter stages. It wasn't so aggressive as the first season, that's for sure. But he wants to win, and he wants his team to play football. He said 3 games into a season coming into the unit, it's going to be difficult to make a sudden transition. So what's he going to do?
Well, he's going to try and play the way that he always does, if the reports are correct. He wants to press high. He wants to get bodies forward. He wants to play with a really high line. All of that's going to be really interesting because Forest don't really do that in the way that they play. In fact, the first 3 games of the season, they've been a bit different. They've been possession-based. And it's been a bit of a rocky start for Forest. But just looking back at Nuno, he only did 1 full season there. Probably the most successful manager in 30 years. Got into Europe for the first time in 30 years. Got into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. They fell away, didn't they, in the back end of last season, and they got a little bit overcome. I think that was because of the size of their squad, and they just missed out. I don't quite get it that you're that successful as a club manager, and then you one sort of aberration. Where he talked about the relationship with the owner, and he's gone. He's out. And actually, I thought he protected the owner very well when he came onto the pitch, as he did. And let's fair, he diffused that very well, and he just put that fire out a little bit, the manager. And this was one of these where maybe lack of communication. I'm not sure about Edu being there, whether that's got in the way of the communication. We'll have to find out. But I think it's a massive risk. He was 17th in the table in his first season. He takes them to 7th place. I think that was a remarkable turnaround. I really like the players he brought in. In fact, whoever was in charge of recruitment at that point, Alanga and Odoi coming
Ross Wilson,
all really good. This was like the dirty dozen. If we include the manager, it was like the dirty dozen at Forest. It's a very different dynamic there now. I'm a little bit concerned of what he's walking into. When I particularly saw what Postecoglou left Spurs, the condition he left them in. I know he won a trophy and he can shout at that, but actually, his first season, he's 5th place, and he takes them to the bottom of the table. So what's he learned from it, Postecoglou?
Just on that, though, you're saying there, but if Nuno comes out, Nuno was the one who told us there was a problem. He's the one who's been talking for weeks on end now about there being a problem with the owner. So do you not think as an...
Dangerous ground to do that.
Exactly. So I take your point. He did 100% handle that situation last year with him coming on the pitch fantastically. But he has manufactured himself getting out of there.
I just think it's disappointing. I just think it's disappointing what he's achieved. And if you're happy with the man in the building and the progression that you're making in the club,
but were they? They weren't, though, were they? I mean, look, let's be clear. Over the course of the summer, there were pictures that emerged of Postecoglou having dinner with Marinakis acolytes, and that doesn't mean that they were doing a deal and hatching a plan. But there was certainly some admiration. There was a bit of sort of Sandy and Danny summer romance going on between Marinakis.
What a Greek summer on the beach.
Exactly. And Nuno got wind of it, and we know this happens in football. And people always think about lining up. What if I need to change? Who am I going to get in ready just in case we do have to change the manager? But Nuno aired it, didn't he? He straight away made sure that everybody knew that there was something else going on.
Yeah, and that's my point, because he did have a poor back end to the season. I thought there was an element of it being a smaller squad, but also people get second time round knowing what they're going to do. Okay, we'll give you the ball, we'll drop off, and not allow you to get those crosses in from the wide areas that you want to be Chris Wood. And I just think, as an owner, did he look and go, are we a bit too one-dimensional?
I think he's just I think he's passionate, a bit emotional, well, very emotional, and I just think he's maybe overstepped the mark. And I think
he deserves more credit than that. He's not just an emotional guy. This is a guy who's driven money into the club. He's pushed the club on.
He makes big calls. He makes big decisions.
He does, and you have to do that if you want to drive a club forward, don't you?
That's why I think it's the fans are looking at it and saying, OK, he's taken us this far. We were a number of years out of the Premier League in the big time. He's bringing it back to us. But I think he's made the wrong call. And I think Nuno was a good manager. He had a good base at Wolves. He had good finishes. It didn't go well for him at Spurs. Maybe he's hoping that Postecoglou now can come in and has learnt a great deal. I would like to see some flexibility in the way that he plays. Surely he's just feeding us a line here in the media that I'm not going to change, because he has to change if he wants to be successful, as he did in the final, by the way.
But do you not think as well, though, Nottingham Forest fans would look at it and go, was it Cooper was the one before, wasn't it?
Steve Cooper, was the last manager to keep a promoted team up.
And then they make that harsh choice there, and then they kick on again. So you've had an issue where you've got a manager who keeps you up when he wasn't supposed to. Chop, now we kick on again. Would he not be able to go down?
It was all a bit strange with Steve Cooper, wasn't it, when he gave him a new contract?
But it's been successful.
After a very slow start. So it's not often that the owner... He can catch you out, and he certainly caught me out. I don't think there was a lot wrong with Forest. I thought they were one of the standout teams last year.
Yeah, but he's been successful, though, hasn't he? Is my point. In doing those chops and moving
Let's see. I'd be very surprised if he can sustain that without the stability that Nuno was bringing to the club.
OK, Evangelos Marinakis, loved by Forest fans. Martin's not so sure he's made the right call. I wonder what other fans of other clubs think about the situation at Nottingham Forest as well. I mean, because if you go back over the course of the last year or even year and a half, questioning the integrity of referees, the perception they led the charge to have Palace removed from the Europa League, points deduction from PSR breaches, sacked managers. I mean, do the ends justify the means? Is pushing everything to the limit the only way to close the gap in the Premier League? Because Forest might argue, actually, they have to do all these things because it is a bit of a closed shop at the very top. And if you want to win trophies, if you want to breach that top six, then you've got to do everything you can in your power to get there.
Got to put their elbows out and get in. And no one's going to open the door and say, here you go, come on in invitingly. So, look, you're only as successful as the decisions you make, right? So when we look back at his decisions, would we question them at the time, bringing in Clattenburg and stuff like that to question referees? It was a bit left field. But now, when you look back over the body of work of the last 2 to 3 years, you'd say, well, he's actually been very successful.
If Forest becomes a springboard for success for Nuno and for Ange Postecoglou, will that be a little bit uncomfortable for the Spurs hierarchy?
Well, it's all changed now anyway, hasn't it? So, that's not going to bother the new people that are there. I assume that decision was made by Levy. He's now gone. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think Nuno, started well, didn't he? Won his first 3 games and then the wheels came off for him. I was a little bit surprised by that. I thought he would do well there, actually, because he had a good base at Wolves. Postecoglou, I tell you what he has got. He's got a lot of personality. And he does show, he has got some balls, by the way, because he came under a lot of pressure last year, and to come away with a trophy is like his way, isn't it, of almost putting two fingers up to the football world. It'd be interesting to see how he comes back. He's had a good summer. He's got to get back in. He's got to pick up those reflexes, the tactical side of it. He's had no real pre-season. He's had a rest. It looks like he's lost a little bit of weight. He'll refocus. He'll come back with that confidence. And he's got his way of playing. So it's going to. I think it's one of those where certainly the spotlight will be on him.
The fans will love him though. His style of football, that fan base will love it. High press, getting after it. They'll love that.
But they want winning football. Fans want winning football.
And if you listen to what he says I've done 4-4-2. I've played 3 in midfield. I played 3 strikers, 2 strikers for a whole season. I'm never going to go away from that. I want my teams to play football. It's exciting. It gets people talking, but I want to win. And the principles are the same. 03717 22 33 4 is the number to call if you're a Forest fan. You want to react to what you've heard so far. Martin's not 100% sure that they've made the right decision in appointing Ange Postecoglou and removing Nuno Espirito Santo. How do you feel about it? Give us a call and tell us what you think. You might not be a Forest fan. You might just have a view on it. Maybe Spurs fans who are looking at the removal of Postecoglou might think it's a little bit harsh, or actually are quite comfortable with it. 03717 22 33 44. That is the number to call. We'd love to hear from you this morning. It's Sam Matterface alongside Troy Deeney and the Riverdance #1 superfan, Martin Keown. We're here right the way through to 1.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh my God!
He's an unlocker of defences.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
talkSPORT with Sam Matterface and Troy Deeney, and today, never shy of sticking his head in where it hurts, whether in defence or in discussion, it is Martin Keown. He is here as well. Fully expect Ange to be gone by Christmas, Forest to be relegated by Easter, and the chairman to leave at the end of the season, says Charlie in Derby. There's a shock.
I thought you were going to put my name to that.
Dan, the Spurs fan, I'm actually worried now about Forest. Unfortunately, Ange hasn't got a plan B, and that was proved at Tottenham. Forest will get relegated. I think that's a little bit of extreme sort of prediction, isn't it?
I don't think they're going to get relegated.
I wonder what the Forest fans feel about that. 03717223344. Ange joining yesterday, giving his first press conference. His first match is away at Arsenal. It's live on talkSPORT. Tomorrow we kick off at 12:30. He did lead Tottenham to their first trophy success in 17 years. That can't be ignored. Neil is a Nottingham Forest fan. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. What do you want to say to Martin Keown and Troy Deeney?
Yeah, just basically call it. I don't know why people are doubting that Ange Postecoglou can do a job at Forest. Marinakis fully knows what he's doing. The man has been successful everywhere. He came into Forest, he said exactly what he was going to do, get us back up the Premier League, get us back into Europe. He's done that. Nuno wanted the sack, he asked for the sack, and he got the sack. So he's put Postecoglou in now. Postecoglou has been successful everywhere. So I don't know why people are doubting him. I fully back him.
Martin, you want your owner to do everything in his power to bring success to the club, and Marinakis is someone who's always put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, but it's just interesting, isn't it, how, and I don't want to accuse Neil of being brainwashed, but it does sound that way, that he thinks the owner is the driving force at the club, and it's not really. You need good messages in the dressing room. Having been a part of groups of players that are very good, but haven't got good direction, you don't win success. What you do is with very good managers, you get success. Now, of course...
He is the driving force behind the club.
Yes, but
all the changes come under his watch.
Is where it matters. I see him in and around the dressing room a lot. Okay, that has to be controlled. You know, Ange is going to have a different issue here with the owner, because as much as he's got in there with his relationship with him, because that has to have helped him. It's got to be a situation he has to manage, because he knows he wants to embrace that enthusiasm. And the city of Forest just love him because he's brought success back to the football club. We haven't seen any success there since time began back at the end of the 70s, you know. Muller Kintyre is all around us again. Suddenly he's brought a newness to Forest. But for me, it's critical that the manager is the right person, and that's where the doubt is this time round for me.
I find that interesting because it's more of a European thing, isn't it? Like a lot of Italian owners and Greek owners, they'll always be in and around, and they'll definitely have like a technical director that will always be in the changing room. So I don't think that's unusual that he's there. I don't think he's going in and saying, look...
Do you experience that when you're at Watford?
All the time. But it's and the training ground, and they're around, but it's their investment, isn't it? So that they want to see it. I don't think it's unusual. I think it's more the American-based ownership that you won't see, or maybe even with City, that you won't really see them around because they've got other things on.
But we're looking at Watford. Was that an example, though, of too much interference with the number of managers we've seen at that football club?
Well, it depends, because the successful years, no, because it still happened, but we was very successful for what our club could deal with. So it just depends, again, on the dressing room. But again, you're only as good as the players you've got, right? So Marinakis will argue, I've brought you, was it 7 new players? We speak to Callum Hudson-Odoi later on. You'll hear what he's got to say about it. But 7 new players pushing this team forward, because last year apparently we fell short. So he's answered every problem.
Yeah, but you look at the early fixtures of the season, he's played pretty well the same team, hasn't he?
Yeah.
They've lost that elanga, that energy, that intensity.
But they've got Dan Odoi, haven't they?
Yes, but I haven't seen quite the same energy from him.
But then is that not, again, now back onto the manager then, that it becomes a bit too deliberate? Everyone knows what you're going to do.
Always after the accusation, the fact that they signed him new players and he didn't want to use them because they were signed by somebody else and he didn't have the say-so. Let's throw it back to Neil, who is the Nottingham Forest supporter who phoned us. I mean, how confident are you that with the big squad that they've now got, there's been quite a lot of investment, that you'll be able to balance European and domestic football? It was something that Postecoglou found tricky last year, but he says he's learnt from that experience.
He absolutely found it tricky last year because I don't believe he had the squad. Now, obviously, we've brought Edu in. Marinakis brought Edu in, and he has injected very, very attacking players into that squad with the thought in mind that we want to be more attacking. And Big Ange is the man for that. He's brought Ange in to play a more attacking style of football. He's brought the players in to play a more attacking style of football. We want a squad that can compete in Europe and in the Premier League. So, it's forward thinking, and that's the way Marinakis works. Look what he did at Olympiacos, the first European trophy for a Greek side. Mm-hmm. And their youth side also won a European trophy, which was the first time in history. He's done things at Forest that we couldn't have dreamt of 4 or 5 years ago.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Neil. Appreciate you calling. We're going to rattle through because we've got loads of people trying to get in touch today. Stuart is on the line. He wants to speak to Troy Deeney and Martin as well. Hello.
Hello, how are you? You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, good. Look, first of all, during Marinakis' tenure at Forest, his decisions he's done, where he's taken the club, what he said he wanted to achieve in a short space of time. He said European football within 5 years to the fans. He's achieved that in 3 years. He doesn't get many things wrong. I don't think he has done much wrong. A lot of the decisions that he made with managers coming in when Nuno first arrived at Forest, a lot of Forest fans weren't keen on it. Mm-hmm. He won us over. Same with Cooper in the Championship. Again, Ange, I think, has got the capability to do that. He's obviously got to learn from last season. Losing 22 Premier League games in the Premier League is not on. You can't do that. It's a backward step if Forest continue to unravel that way. Going forward, I think he brings something different to what Forest have got. I think now as well with the investment, the attacking style of players we've brought in, McAtee, Omari Hutchinson, Bakwa, Odoi, Wood's still there, Gibbs-White's retained. I think that gives us that ability to go forward and change what we can do rather than being counter-attacking, 11 men behind the ball. I don't think Nuno was one-dimensional, but we were running out of ideas. We didn't strengthen the squad in January last year. We lost out on the Champions League, which would have been massive for us. A step too far, I believe, so far. But, yeah, I think the club's going in the right direction. You've got to back what, Marinakis has decided to do. Nuno has made a few edgy moves with him. He's hot, he's fiery, he's passionate, he cares, he wants success. I think bringing Edu in has obviously rattled a few cages with Nuno. Some of the decisions and the signings he wanted, he didn't get. I understand he wanted Matthias Fernandes, has gone to West Ham. He wanted Adama Traore. He doesn't get them. He gets what Edu believes was the right move. Edu's been chasing Douglas Luiz for 3 or 4 years now. Mm-hmm. He's finally got him in at Forest, which I think's pivotal. How he was at Aston Villa, if he can replicate that, is brilliant for Forest and retaining the ball, how we'll move forward.
Stuart, can I interrupt you, mate? Because I don't want to kill you, but we are going to a break in a minute. I just wanted to get on that point. About the injuries you just said there, 22 injuries last year. Do you think Ange coming in after pre-season is going to help that? I feel that could be an issue, that, the way he trains is very high intensity, the way he plays is very high intensity. And if the players haven't had that type of pre-season, he could be in a situation where a lot of injuries happen again.
100% hamstrings going all over the shop. I do think that could be a very big case. But I say he's got to learn from what he did. He's also got to learn, and obviously going forward, the amount of games he lost in the Premier League last year, that's got to change. That can't be replicated. But I'll finish up on that, guys. I think it's a good move forward with Forest. Marinakis doesn't get a lot wrong.
Thank you, Stuart.
And to be fair, brilliant. Yeah,
we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much. We appreciate it. If you want more on Nottingham Forest, the latest episode of the brand new talkSPORT Daily Podcast is available now. Max Scott, Adrian Clark and Sarah Clapson discuss whether Ange Ball will be a success at Forest. You can get it wherever you get your podcast. It's also on the talkSPORT app. Big Forest fan here. Neon Mark says, wasn't sure about Cooper. Wasn't sure about Nuno. We'll see about Ange Postecoglou. We'll see what happens. 03717223344. If you want to get in touch, you can also text us 81089. It's TalkSport with Sam Matterface and Troy Deeney. We've got Martin Keown with us today with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. We'll talk Arsenal next.
What football ground are you thinking of when someone says this?
Really tough place to go. Difficult place to go. Such a tough place to go.
It's a tough place to go at the moment.
It was a really difficult place to go.
But what are the toughest places to go, really? We've had a look. Forget a cold, wet Tuesday night in Stoke. Try a blizzard 220 miles inside the Arctic Circle. When Chelsea lost at Tromsø in Norway in the Cup Winners' Cup, a massive snowstorm hit at half-time. These two boys and their brooms were absolutely no match for it. We're staying in Scandinavia for Scotland's toughest away day on the side of a cliff in the Faroe Islands in Euro 2000 qualifying. The pitch at Toftir was like a cow field, never mind those gale-force winds. The Faroe Islands part-timers equalised in stoppage time. Cue Scandi scenes. But away trips don't come tougher than playing Bolivia at altitude in La Paz. Or so we thought. The Bolivians have now taken home advantage to another level, literally 500 metres further up the Andes to the country's highest city, El Alto, 4,100 metres above sea level. Meanwhile, the loudest stadium in world football officially is the Ali Sami Yen, where Galatasaray fans set a world record of 131 decibels. That's louder than Motorhead. But our most intimidating away day is in Wales. Prison team HMP Prescoed was briefly kicked out the Gwent League over concerns about young opposition having to go in there. Now that's a tough place to go.
for tomorrow, and that game 12:30 live on talkSPORT. Looking forward to it. It is Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. Hi lads, just wondering how much Martin would feel as a defender, what it would feel like right now playing in a Forest team that's going to set up to attack and leave you exposed at the back.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that the two central defenders for Forest probably not that used to, because, you know, you look at the fullbacks around them, Williams and Arna, really good players. Don't get enough credit, by the way. They swapped them over, didn't they, at the beginning of last season to really good effect. So they get through a lot of work. Two central defenders are really solid, but they like bodies around them. So it'd be an interesting one to see. Maybe that... I don't know if the players will totally embrace it. This is the thing, because this group have played a certain way for quite a long time. I think we saw that at West Ham when David Moyes left there.
Mentioned, though, you know, you talked about the possession and the increase in the amount of possession that they've had in the first 3 games of the season, Nottingham Forest. They were working towards something different already, weren't they? I don't think that suits them. I think they were a smash and grab team last year, and I think with the high energy of Alanga, I think they've lost something. You know, there was an intense energy about them when they received the ball.
Is that sustainable? The smash and grab?
Well, it certainly was last season.
Yeah, I mean, long term, is that sustainable?
Well, not without Alanga in the group. So maybe Nuno was a little bit angry about that. It was interesting to look at his bench, and none of them were really taking part in any of these new signings. So he was obviously, it was a kind of like, okay, I don't really rate what you've brought me in. You've got rid of one of my good players. I want to play in a certain way. So he's had to adapt. The boy
for Serbia struggled as well, didn't he? Milenkovic, when against Harry Kane, when he had to push up really high.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a story, though, there, wasn't there? Because in the Euros in Germany, he absolutely ate Harry Kane up and didn't give him any room whatsoever. And we spoke to Harry the night before, and I could tell in Harry's mind, he was like, I'm having him tomorrow. Okay. And he did. He got his ultimate revenge on him.
I just meant from a high pressure, he had loads of spacing behind him. Well, he got played down the side.
Kane, that's why he gets sent off, because Kane beats him.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's not really happening that often, as good as Harry is.
Yeah.
We're talking about smash and grab. Oh, do you want to do this first?
I would like to give you this gift. It's in my way, yeah.
Okay, it's in your way. You want to give me a gift? This is
Martin. Sam is normally the guy who gives people gifts, little salty hats.
I've never experienced that.
So we're quite a nice show here.
New environment on a Friday.
So what I would like to do is return it, because Sam's our lovely host, and I've got you a little gift.
Okay.
Mate. It's kind of running on from your theme as well, musical background to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
right. Okay. So I've got a big box here. Oh, it's blue. Blue is the colour. Oh, hold on a second. It says Watford on it.
Oh, okay.
And an E. Now, am I right in assuming this is something to do with Elton John?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, it's the Elton John kit that they're using.
Yes.
When are they playing in this?
Saturday. So it's 50 years since Sir Elton took over the club.
Elton took over. Look at that.
Yeah, so they're doing a commemorative.
Taylor.
Yeah, so doing a commemorative shirt for him this week.
Wow.
And I thought I'd get you
this
on
is lovely.
There. And if you look at the bottom, at the back, it's at the bottom.
That's expensive, Troy. Did you get a discount?
Don't worry about all of that. I thought that. So
look at the bottom of it.
There you go.
How wonderful life is when you're in the world. That's etched on the bottom of the shirt as well. So it's a blue shirt, which is made in tribute to the involvement at Watford of one Sir Elton
it's
John.
the closest thing to Chelsea you're going to wear. So
Well, Watford was an amazing story with Elton John right at the helm. Him and Graham Taylor, all those promotions. Was blue the original colour then? Did they change it to?
I'll be honest, mate.
Have you got any history on this? I'm thinking.
It'll be
probably
was with Elton, won't it? And,
yeah, it'll be something to do with that.
That's why they call it the Blues or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But just a little gift as a thank you.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
Can we get back to Arsenal now?
Right. Okay. I was about to say. Talking of smash and grab, Peter Schmeichel has said that Arsenal bring an ugly brand of football to our game. This was in the aftermath of the Liverpool match the other week, and Schmeichel is sort of quite sort of strident in his views about Arsenal's style, saying they're annoying to watch, and that Arteta should let his players play with more freedom instead of emphasising structure and set pieces. That caught the ire of the river dancer.
It's too early in the season, really, to write Arsenal off. I don't know if it's been calm in the media. I'm listening to some people. Sometimes these ex-players. Peter Schmeichel has said that Arsenal brings something ugly to the Premier League. I think that's deranged, what he's talking about. Was it ugly when they changed the back pass rule in 92 because it was him that was one of the advocates of that? Everyone kept passing it back to him. That was ugly as well. But look, Arsenal, I think, they're a long way down the line to being successful. We're going to compare clubs, Manchester United. Look, maybe I'm rising to the bait, but I think Arsenal look good right now. It's not lucky Arsenal anymore, by the way, with all these injuries. But that will clear up. But they have now got a squad to go the distance.
That clip from earlier in the week went viral. Do you stand by what you said there in your riposte to Peter Schmeichel?
Yeah, I just feel that that particular comment from Peter was out of keeping, really, with all the informed opinion. You know, that Arsenal, I don't think Arsenal are ugly. I think actually it was you that said that Arsenal lack kahunas, was it?
Many moons ago.
Saying that they were a soft touch. And suddenly now they're ugly. You know, you have to be a combination of both if you want to be successful. So, you know, look, I have respect for Peter, but I think sometimes he, to say that he was desperate for Arsenal to lose that game, I think it showed his allegiance to his old club and the rivalry of Manchester United.
Listen, it's not as if any of you ever show allegiances to your club.
Of course not.
Is Arsenal's play genuinely unattractive? And if it is, does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. I get fed up on the style conversation, because it's like, unless you have 700 passes and score that perfect goal, it doesn't count. Football is about differences of opinion. So when Stoke was successful, that was an ugly way of playing, but it was successful for them. I think the way that Arsenal do it, would I like to see a little bit more creative freedom in the final third? Yes, but I don't think that's an Arteta problem. I think that's a player problem. I think you get a framework to go out and to do what you do. If you look at Saka, they give him the ball. He's the only one who's probably got that freedom, that arrogance to a point of, I'm that good. I'm going to come in on my left foot.
They've got a little bit more of that now with Madueke and with Eze as well.
Absolutely.
But, we have been talking about this sort of 90s revival over the course of the last few weeks, haven't we? And across football, we've seen increased number of long balls, direct free kicks from the goalkeeper, torpedo throw-ins. Arsenal and their adaptation of style, is it just part of a broader shift in the Premier League to back to the old school?
Well, everyone now has got a coach, haven't they, working on set pieces. And that we know that it's always played a really important part.
But they score more goals from set pieces than anybody else.
Yeah, they do. And they're actually also, as well, one of the most possession-based teams. Now, back in the day, you had teams like, let's pick on Sam Allardyce, because everyone said he was a long ball game. But look, they were quite direct. He believed in set pieces, and they would have been quite high up in those figures. So now it's like, well, okay, we as the top teams, okay, if you're a passing team, you want to do both. So they do that. You know, you look at Thomas Frank is excellent in this area as well, which is, you know, another strings for his bow. So I think you've got to show this in every area. I think, to go back to the point about Arsenal playing more football, I think they need to be freer in their minds. I need to just free this up a little bit. It was a comment that Wenger used to say, I don't want fear. Guys, I don't want fire. Forget that. Blame me if it goes wrong. Play with freedom. And I think that's the next step for Arsenal. It's all there waiting for them. You go to Anfield. You know, since when is the onus on Arsenal to open up and attack? You know you get hurt if you go there. You've got to have balance. And
but the accusation is that they had conceded in every game up until that point 2 goals to Liverpool. And Arsenal have supposed to have brought in all of this extra firepower to push them over the line. So there was a little bit of disappointment, I think, from some people that they didn't see that in that game.
I had that genuine feeling as well. But being realistic, that Arsenal had quite some big players not available for that game. Of course, your Havertz and your Sakas.
But they had Gyökeres, they had Eze, they had Madueke.
Yeah, but I think
Odegaard came off.
Yeah, but Madueke had Gyökeres on toast, and I think if Saka's doing that, then Arsenal might have scored from it, because I do think he is slightly better than Madueke. As well as he played for England the other day, Saka is still number one. His figures are outstanding. He's their Salah, isn't he? Who's hardly ever injured. So it's an issue for Arsenal that they got these players. I think it's a good idea that they bought all those players, because they could still go to Anfield, still make a good account of themselves. But I hope we're not looking back at this saying it's a regret that Arsenal didn't really go for it, because I know they made the changes before they conceded the goal. Yeah. But that seemed to open it up to the advantage of Liverpool.
The only bit I'll go push back on that is Liverpool played with Szoboszlai right back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they had injuries. They're not in their best moment, are they? You'd look at it and say, yes, there's injuries for Arsenal, but Arsenal got their business done. They were done early. They're ready. Their squad's more settled. Liverpool, up until literally the last minute, was still trying to get Guehi in. I think there was arguments for both, but I think to what I want to ask you is more, it's that framework, right? So Arteta sets them up. Again, we both like to attack corners and head the ball. If you've got 2 centre-halves who want to head it, that's a game changer. You've got the delivery that Arsenal have got in terms of Declan Rice, Odegaard or Saka, whoever they want to put on it. Why would you turn that down? You'd be naive to not do that. Like, don't get me wrong, the set-piece coach winds me up, no end. winds me up.
But they have scored more set-piece goals than anybody else since the start of 23.
Do you know what really got into my head the other day? This is a sad part. I was watching the England game, and I thought, when Declan Rice put that in, the Arsenal coach somewhere has put that on LinkedIn. That he did that. That's genuinely a thought that went through my head.
The England set-piece coach has been giving the players a lot of jip because they haven't been scoring from set-pieces. They did in the game against Serbia.
You've got to find solutions. You've got to find variation to your play. But when teams do, you're into your stats, aren't you, Sam?
Is he?
Massively into your stats. I was looking last season. There was 3 or 4 teams came to Arsenal and had the fewest number of shots on Arsenal's goal that anyone ever seen in the Premier League history.
That's because people
they're all parked
showing you respect.
They're all parked, as Andorra were for England the other day on the edge of their own box.
And you've got to open them up, haven't you?
Exactly. So maybe you can do that through set pieces. But I would like to see a bit more variation, and I think it will come.
Do you think? Let's go to tomorrow's game, right? Okay, because that's the one that we're bringing you live tomorrow, and this is the next assignment for Arsenal. They take on Nottingham Forest. How do they set up against an Ange team then? Because they've got got Saliba tomorrow.
I think this plays into their hands. I think Ange taking over plays into Arsenal's hands because he will go and get after them and he will make that pitch. It's a big pitch as well at the Emirates. I think it plays into their hands. No Saliba, but the other boy who's coming looks strong and ready. Mascara looks strong. He looks ready. Maybe is he going to be able to do it over a 10-15 game period? Probably not. But
did well when he came on, didn't he? Difficult circumstances.
But you know what it's like though. 3 or 4 games in, he's fine, and you take him back out, and then you go back.
He was robust last year. He played almost every game for Valencia last year.
But you're playing for Valencia, you're not playing for Arsenal that's expected to win.
I think if it's a high line, Forest have been asked to play a high line, and all the difficulties that has to try and stitch that information in within 3 days. It's not an easy one. I played in an Arsenal back 4, and it took me quite a while to pick it up. Let me tell you, when to drop, when to hold, when to let the runner go. It's not an easy fix, and I think from an Arsenal point of view, you'd be licking your lips, wouldn't you? If those two defenders stood on the halfway.
He has said, Ange Postecoglou, it's going to be more of a gradual shift to where he wants to go. He can't do it all immediately because he hasn't had a pre-season. He's only had a couple of days. Some of the players have only just come back from international duty. We're going to hear from some managers building up to the weekend as well over the next hour or so. No Johan Visser for Newcastle United this weekend. That's one of the big developments that's happened in the last hour. And just on tactical comparisons, if you look at the statistics, as these boys know that I love to do, there are a lot more long throws. The distribution for goalkeepers is a lot longer this season than it has been before. And elite teams are sort of blending tactics with sort of old school direct play and intense pressing and quick transitions. The statistics don't lie on that. So there is a bit of a shift in the game overall. Tell us what you think about it. 03717 22 3344. You can WhatsApp us, you can call us, you can voice note us, or you can text us on 81089. It's Sam Matterface with Martin Keown and Troy Deeney. We're live on talkSPORT till 1 o'clock. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences. That.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
It's talkSPORT, it's Sam Matterface, and it is Troy Deeney today alongside Martin Keown, because Alex Cook is not here this Friday, which is naughty, isn't it? Are we tolerating this early in the season to have a day off? Are we having that?
Are we expecting anything else from Mr. Salty? You know he's going to be there, though, when it comes to Ascot in a few weeks' time. He will be there.
Yeah, when we're at Ascot, he'll definitely be there. Last season, Liverpool had an XG of 93.24 goals. Arsenal had a XG of 73. That's quite a big differential in terms of chances created. If they are going to win the title this year, is that the gap that they need to close?
I've always felt that, and I wanted to talk to Martin about it as well, because I do think the identity, the framework, Arsenal have moved so far forward, right, in terms of where they once were to where they are now, that I don't think anyone's putting them outside the top three at any point in any argument. I just think, have they addressed that? Other than Saka, we'll take Saka out of this conversation. Who's the reliable goal source? Who's the one that every time you turn around, you go, he's going to win? You played with Thierry, right? There'll be games you'd look and go, he'll get us out of this. You played with him, right? I think Man City have that. Haaland will get us a goal. I think Liverpool have that twice now. Isak will score or Salah will score. I just wonder whether...
Well, Gyökeres is the player that they brought in to do that, hasn't he?
Do you believe that is that, though? I'm not sure.
No, it's not a player that they've looked to too much. The form that Arsenal showed at the start of the season is, it's been a bit bitty.
Yeah.
You go to Anfield, it's difficult to judge a little bit. He wasn't on the ball much. He's had very few touches in the final third. I think the goal he scored this season, he pretty well made for himself. I think it's one of those where now he's played the last two internationals without a goal as well. Maybe it was Isak that was the player that everybody was chasing, but I think he will bring something to the team. I think there's enough under the bonnet, but he's got to be looked for. They've got to try to find him into those areas. And I think there was occasions when Arsenal maybe turned their back a little bit on passes, but I think it's about finding those partnerships and rhythm to their play. There's been a lot of change in the Arsenal front line. So tomorrow now we're going to see probably a whole front three, completely new front three tomorrow. Matterface will play. He'll be playing down the middle of the player we're talking about. And then on the left-hand side, Eze will probably come in. So it'd be Arsenal maybe will play.
But they needed to do that, Martin.
They'll probably play with 2 10s tomorrow.
If you look at the situation with Arsenal last year, Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli were their joint top Premier League goal scorers with 8 goals last year.
Yeah, they need that prolific goal scorer. That's why they were so active in the transfer market. I think it was a good summer from an Arsenal point of view. And the fans are looking now. This is the opportunity tomorrow to really make your mark, start scoring the goals, and the confidence then will start to flow.
I think that'll be my pushback on that. So I agree with you, they've done great in the market, but it's an issue we've spoke about probably for 18 months now, maybe, that you need a striker. You signed the goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, a wide man in Matterface and Eze. No, Matterface. Then you got Gyökeres in.
Yeah, but
do you get my point?
Yeah, but we know we
need to fix that.
Yeah, but they were protracted
so late, didn't.
They were protracted negotiations over the course of the summer.
Well, he went on strike, didn't he? And they didn't want to.
But the point is,
go at the right
but the point is, when they wanted Declan Rice, it was bang, get it done. we know that's going to make us move forward and jump forward.
You think that
optically, to me,
does that suggest they didn't want
they
him?
weren't sure. I just don't think it's a great striker school at the moment. Somebody you can go right, pick and place, and they're going to work.
But there is a dearth. I mean, where are these top strikers now?
No, I agree with you.
Hence why Voldemar cost so much money, right? Because there is not as many in European football that you can go and pluck.
But it's about getting the right one that fits your journey. And I feel this guy runs into the channel really well. They've just got to look for him. Because obviously Havertz was very much a different striker, dropping deep and the wide players running through the middle of the channel. I think Arsenal now will adapt and they'll find a new way to break teams down.
Well, they've always been constantly adapting, and certainly Mikel Arteta started a very different way of playing to what he's got now and what he did in the middle as well. They've evolved over the course of his tenure. Arsenal, though, says Noel, are the modern Stoke City and can only score at set pieces. Remember, Arsenal have been building for 4 or 5 years, spending £1 billion. I think Arteta should be gone if he wins nothing again this season, says Noel.
That is a question that is banding around, though, and I think it's a harsh one because fundamentally they're second and they're getting further in the Champions League, but there does become that breaking point, doesn't there, where you have to...
Yeah, but I think it's progress, isn't it? If you see progress, you're getting to the semi-final of the Champions League. I think you've got to look at what was there when you arrived.
Of course.
There's a massive turnaround in players. I don't think all the signings have been absolutely perfect. I don't think that's the manager's issue. Edu, some of those signings weren't the best of signings, but by and large, it's been a good job.
Okay. Neil in Wigan says, Pep killed football for me. Let's get back to trying to score more goals instead of being more concerned about how many passes the team makes. 03717 22 3344. So much to talk about between now and 1 o'clock with Martin Keown and Troy Deeney, including Manchester City against Manchester United on Sunday. So much more football to come this weekend on talkSPORT as well, with 2 live Premier League games tomorrow.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Thank you very much. This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface with Troy Deeney and Martin Keown. Troy's just played waiter and brought everybody in a little...
It actually looks like I paid for it as well.
It does, doesn't it? You did that very well. Tomorrow on talkSPORT, we got live football for you. 12:30, it's Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. But it's the Manchester Derby on Sunday. And boy, are we looking forward to that. Two teams that aren't in particularly great form. And there's been a lot of discussion as well, maybe in some of the opinion pieces in the papers this week, about the future of Pep Guardiola. In fact, Oliver Brown in The Telegraph has been saying this today. While he could have emulated Jurgen Klopp, stepping away on the pretext that the fuel gauge was flashing red, Guardiola increasingly invites parallels with Arsene Wenger as a figure who has outstayed his welcome. He's facing a bit of a storm. This weekend, the Manchester Derby looms large. Are we suggesting that this another defeat could trigger another sort of downward spiral for Manchester City after what happened last year?
No, I think it's going to be a difficult one though as well, because where Man United find themselves, I think they're both in rebuilds. I think the signing of Donnarumma to me is one that Pep's feeling. And Martin, you'd have said this. You have an air of invincibility. When someone's going through onto your goalkeeper or plays the ball over top, you want that security to do the high press, knowing, right, he's there to clean up behind us. I think Trafford is a very good, young, talented goalkeeper. However, just doesn't give you that winning feeling that behind you.
Let's come back to the Donnarumma thing in just a minute, because I think the Donnarumma thing is one of those things that raises the question whether or not they're planning for life after Guardiola, because he's not really wedded to the Guardiola system, is he?
Yeah.
He's not that sort of goalkeeper. We'll come back to that in just a second, but let's just ask Martin what he thinks about comparisons to the Wenger situation, because you watched that firsthand. You watched the sort of deterioration of the group during that period in the late 20-teens, I suppose it was, before he left. And they went from being challengers when he first walked in, winning doubles, being challengers for the Champions League after they got to the final in 2006, to being top 4 contenders, to dropping out of that, and to becoming not irrelevant, but very much sort of on the periphery of the top 6. Do you think that there's a danger that managers, long-serving managers,
surely, isn't it? Not
could outstay their welcome? Can they do it, though? Does it happen?
Well, I mean, I think what it's very clear is Pep is basically saying, I mean, Gundogan is a kind of a friend come player, player that he would talk to a lot. When you see him going, you see De Bruyne going, and you see Grealish going to, Everton, 4 assists, whatever he's done, he's started to... It's kind of like, this is a new broom now, same manager. I'm just going to sweep this through. Even the staff have gone. Everyone out the door, bang, this is ruthless. We start again. Maybe because he felt, okay, some of these guys weren't listening anymore. So these are big players. The keeper's gone. Now, the keeper's the biggest surprise, because I just thought the previous goalkeeper was absolutely magnificent in his delivery. Donnarumma's not going to necessarily give you that, but maybe he's going back to the basics here and saying, I just want my goalkeeper to make the all-important saves. They're making too many mistakes. There's too many risks with my keeper.
Okay, so you don't think that there is a suggestion that it could be a sort of changing of the guard in terms of the way they start to play, because the Donnarumma signing is different, right?
Of course it is, but he was at PSG as well. Like, he did just win more or less everything last year as well.
But they moved him on.
Yes, of course they did. But I just think that when you played against Edison, I don't remember a time anyone spoke and went, oh, that great save he made. We talk about Edison, about how good he is with his feet, the ability to go over the top of the press. And I just think when you look in front of him, and it's going to sound disrespectful, and I don't mean it to, but the 2 centre-halves in front of him are not what they once were. John Stones is fantastic but can't stay fit. Diaz looks like he's carrying a caravan now. Every time he gets ran, he looks like he doesn't trust his body to sprint anymore.
Akanji's been allowed to leave.
Akanji's been allowed to leave. I just think it's in a situation now where they're looking and go, right, our goalkeeper needs to be able to make more saves, keep us in the game, because they are winning games. They're having opportunities to go and kill the game off, and they're missing big chances. When they were at their best, they never did that.
Is Guardiola struggling to get his players to buy into his plan now? Are the players that have been recruited for him not up to the level that he requires, or are they just settling in?
That's a good question, because I think when you get rid of some of the quality players that you are, I mean, these are almost the kings of football, aren't they? De Bruyne. I'm not sure the crown is sitting perfectly on some of these signings. I honestly don't believe the calibre of players is quite what it was. But is this about the manager wrestling control? So you play De Bruyne, you tell us he's not going to be there in the future, and you play him for the last remaining 10 games of the season to try and get to the Champions League. He's helped you to do that. I'd have rather somebody like that in the building while we do this handover period, while we nurture some of these other midfield players into the job, because you're going to get inconsistencies, and then you can bring on the stars to wrestle it back again. And I think he's gone, no, do you know what? You're out the door. Walker, off you go. Akanji, off you go. Edison, off you go. Magnificent what we achieved. This starts again. Now, maybe that suggests he kind of lost the room a little bit. But, you can't underestimate Pep. This guy is a serial winner. So it's fascinating to watch. But they've just lost the last 2 games, Sam. They've lost the last 2 games and the wheels have come off. And it's a massive... I don't care what dressing room you're in, right? You don't know. I've been in teams that have gone a whole season without losing a game of football.
That's a huge thing to say after 3 games. The wheels are coming off.
It all looks pretty from the outside when you're winning. But if you lose a game, people are so not used to that. Now, they fell away at the end of last season because they couldn't be champions. And when you can't be champions, it says a lot about the group where they're really motivated.
Can they be champions this season?
At the moment, it doesn't look likely. But I would never underestimate Pep, because he is quite a genius. He's brought in Klopp's old assistant manager. They're high press. They're changing. They're evolving. It's amazing how he is. He's won more than anybody else. But Postecoglou maybe should be watching, listening to this. He's willing to change again, to rip it up and start again and change. Maybe the goalkeeper is a big view to that, because he doesn't want to pass the ball out from the back.
Well, this is interesting, isn't it? Because you've just mentioned that he changed his coaching staff in the summer. Kolo Touré, Pep Linders, both coming in during the summer. Both have been managers, by the way, in the not too distant past. Does that experience add the freshness that a club like Manchester City needs on the coaching field? Or can it take a while for everyone to find their voice?
No, I think there's still ultimately one voice at that building, and that's Pep Guardiola. But it's more of a, give me some new ideas. Am I getting a little bit too stale? Because the one thing we're not talking about is that Pep has changed football. I think one of the listeners said it earlier. Pep ruined football. So for the last decade, everyone's been trying to be like Pep, right?
I think he ruined.
It's an outrageous.
No, that's what the fella said, not me. That's what one of the guys said.
That's an outrageous.
I've said over the last 10 years, people have been trying to play. But what has everybody else also been doing? Trying to figure out how to beat that.
Yeah.
So you've had 10 years worth of trying to beat that one style. And now we're just getting to a point where Pep's having to figure it out. In my opinion, the biggest part is they've lost legs in the midfield. That's the bit that they lose it. The wide areas are okay. You got Haaland, still going to get you, on a bad season, gets you 30 goals.
It's very much a higher line, isn't it, at the start of this season?
Yeah.
And you can see he's buzzing off every time they catch anybody offside.
Yeah.
We have seen where John Stones has had a difficulty dealing with that. I mean, this is a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do I drop? Do I hold? Do I squeeze?
On the injuries as well, when you've been injured so much.
John Stones has been in a difficult situation because he's not got a contract after this season.
I think you should also talk to us about that high line and how difficult it is to implement, because you were famous for it with Arsenal. How hard is it to
Well, I
maintain?
came into the Arsenal back four, and
So how long did it take you to get involved in it? And feel comfortable?
I actually felt because the strength of that back four was the four itself and how it works together as a unit. And actually, individually, if I can say this myself, I'm probably a better individual defender. Maybe Lee Dixon was on that same level, 1-to-1, same sort of pace. But I was quite happy to run beyond everybody else. But I was keeping the whole opponent on side in my endeavour to sort of show, okay, look, I can deal with this. So when you work together, it works really well, but you've got to know the moments. It's about pressure on the ball. It's about holding that line and let your opposition run offside. Now, there will be teething problems because people, the ball on your side, for instance, you're the left-hand side centre half, we take the line off of you. And if you drop too deep, we're all in trouble.
Yeah.
And I think at the moment there's been signs of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I see that with Spurs as well, with Jed Spence. He's great going forward, but he's always the one drops first. And he got caught a few times against Bournemouth.
This conversation sparked because of an article this morning saying that Pep Guardiola is facing a bit of a storm at Manchester City. And the Telegraph saying he risks outstaying his welcome just like Arsene Wenger did. Is this a thing? Is there a vibe amongst City fans that are feeling this way, that possibly he is overstaying his welcome? Because it sounds almost treacherous, doesn't it, to talk about Pep Guardiola in those terms. But the issues that Arsene faced, I suppose, was that no one inside the organisation was brave enough to stand up to him and say to him, sorry, Arsene, it's time to go now. And they didn't confront it until the team had already started to decline, Martin. How
they
did they deal with that better?
You on your stats, I think they did have 20 consecutive years in the Champions League. So I don't think it was all bad. They did also
it wasn't all bad, but it was a decline.
A number of FA Cups, but they never quite got back to the level again, did they, of winning, becoming Premier? I mean, Leicester win the Premier League. That's certainly a year they'll look back with. And I think that was because Arsenal went more technical. Arsene Wenger went away from that physicality. And, that moment you were saying, well, you're in the tunnel, you look at the players and you think, okay, we can bully this lot.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of back to that again. That physicality is coming back. That's an ingredient I think you need. And certainly if I'd have been still around the club, I'd have been insisting that we still have those types of players. That physical player with the technical gifted players as well.
Just on that with City, while they're all physically strong and tall, do you think players are looking at those guys now thinking, I think when you're looking at that midfield, that back line, if we can stay in it, our legs will get us over the line. If you look at how Brighton did it against them recently, they were obviously losing, stayed in the game, but then when we put our subs on, we get fresher, they got weaker.
See, you look at the players and like Walker's been allowed to leave. Now, he'd have been perfect to rescue things with a high line.
But he was poor, though, towards the end of his stint.
He was, but I think the manager's he's basically, you've had your period. Thanks for what you've achieved. You've made your mark, and we're all going to start again. And it's it's really whether a Pep.
Do you think this is clean slate, and this is almost
100%.
like going right back to the beginning of the
Massive
Guardiola era and starting again? So this could be a season where, we spoke to him last 2 Sundays ago, and he said we're not a team in transition, but they are, aren't they?
Well, to guard against complacency is the best way of actually making that change. But I think it's majorly radical, and I don't think we've seen it anywhere before. When you've seen so many top players being allowed to leave a football club all at once. I think Silva is one Bernardo Silva is one that he really believes in. Obviously, Rodri's come in, but even Rodri is saying, look, we've got new players here. They're not quite at the level, but we've got to get them to the level. The responsibility lies with us. So, you know,
He needs to get himself fit, though.
They spent a whole load of money. I think, what are they, 130 million that they've spent.
Forward areas.
You know, in forward areas. So, you know, it's a big change. And can they deal with that change and still be successful?
It's two big changes because they spent a lot of money in January, spent a lot of money in the first period of the transfer window before the Club World Cup, then a bit more afterwards as well. And now they go into the Manchester derby this week with Manchester United having a reasonably good record against them in recent matches. We'll see what happens. The Sunday Game Day Live programme comes from 1:30. We'll bring you Alex Crook's going to be at the Manchester derby. He's not going on a golfing trip that day, funnily enough.
There's a shock, yeah. Is it free tickets to Man United game?
There you go.
To get back to that, they play Napoli and they play Arsenal as well.
do.
So come on, Man City, you need to start waking up.
It's a big couple of weeks for Manchester City. 03717 223344 is the number to call. If you want to get in touch, you can WhatsApp us on the same number, or you can text us 81089. We'll look at the other side of Manchester as well, because Manchester United have got some work to do ahead of the derby. We're going to hear from Callum Hudson-Odoi on the programme as well, all before 1 o'clock on talkSPORT. With Selco Builders Warehouse, check out this month's real deal at selcobw.com.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences. That.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
It's just 1 week until we're calling up 2 winners and putting them on air and getting them to go head-to-head. They're both scored tickets to see Oasis at Wembley for the gig on the 27th of September 2025, but only one will walk away with £25,000 in cash. It all goes down Friday, 19th of September on talkSPORT. Keep your phone off mute. You could be getting the call. But first, don't look back in anger. It's not over yet. Here's how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
The Troy Master loves a little bit of championship promotion, and the fight for promotion might even get harder than it already is. 6 teams battling for Wembley glory and a Premier League ticket instead of 4 in the playoffs at the moment. Are more playoff places the future or a gamble with tradition? EFL executives, led by Peter Ridsdale, have proposed broadening the playoff field to 6 clubs in the Championship, meaning extra knockout matches at the end of the season. It means that the 5th place club would take on the 8th place club, the 6th place club would take on the 7th place club, and the winners would then meet the 3rd and 4th in 2-legged semi-finals. The aim is to reduce meaningless games and inject a bit of drama for clubs finishing lower in the table. Initial reactions from the Championship clubs are favourable, though the FA and the Premier League would have to give their approval before any rule changes. The EFL is also considering expanding this format to League One and League Two. Should the EFL be considering this, Troy Deeney?
No. It's perfect for what it is. I think we just get to this point where people try and fill dead spaces, don't they? Because there is that nice little gap between the semi-finals and the final of about 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, depending on when you played. And that's fine. I think they're just trying to fill that and maximise money. I think it's been perfect. It's the, in my opinion, it's the best game in football, that playoff final, because you saw it last year with Sunderland. You know, they weren't expected to go, and they got into the playoffs very early. They were kind of expected to be the team that no one thought would win. They go and win it. It's great. But we've had so many iconic moments in that. Why mess about with it? Why?
It is the most enthralling couple of weeks of the season, I think, because the prize is so great. Apart from winning the Champions League and the Premier League, there is no prize greater than that in terms of monetary reward, is there? So there's so much put on the line, and that creates a lot of drama. Should the EFL give more teams a shot at promotion, Martin? Or, bearing in mind the recent survival records of some of the promoted teams, are we actually in danger of risking and rewarding mediocrity here?
I mean, this is something. I know that Ridsdale is giving it some traction because he's obviously he's a chairman of Preston North End, but he's also a member of the EFL board. So obviously everything you look at it and you think, well, okay, why is it getting so much traction? But this has been proposed many times in the past. And it hasn't been taken forward. It's something similar that they've got, haven't they? Mine,
just ask you a question. So, if based on this, right, somebody who finishes 8th in the league could get to the Premier League.
Well, that'd have been Millwall, I think, in the last 2 years.
Yeah, but if you base that on what you've seen in the Premier League so far,
they get torn alive.
Thank you. They just get chewed up.
But then they might not.
But it changes.
They might spend loads of money over the summer and elevate themselves, and it might be a golden ticket to a higher echelon of football.
Sam, I'm telling you, there's a big difference between finishing 8th and 14th in the Championship and finishing in those top.
We've just had 2 seasons of the two promoted teams.
That was my question to you.
Have both gone down.
Yeah.
So the likelihood of that happening is very unlikely.
Why did the EFL clubs want it? By the way, it wasn't Peter Ridsdale's idea. It was an idea that's put together by the EFL, and he's presented it to the clubs because he's their rep. So
more money is a clear, obvious one. It generates more money. There's more games. Obviously, the 2-legged games are all covered by Sky as well, so there's more money generated for that way. I just think, personally, you're messing with something for no real reason. There's no valid reason that
it kills off dead rubber matches at the end of the season.
Well, yeah,
not that many in the Championship.
It does present more opportunity, doesn't it? So, like for the teams that are in that mid-block, the end of the season becomes just a run-in. But how are you bridging that gap when you get to the Premier League? You know, the parachute payments, all these things are all up for negotiation. Yeah, maybe, but I just think it's a big ask. I mean, the status quo, but you could say will never change, though, if we don't try and open out that net to a little bit bigger. But 8th place, do you really deserve to come 8th and make it into the Premier League? I think not.
It's a little bit of an American sort of twist on things, isn't it?
It's daft. That's what it is, mate. I'm just going to call it as it is. It's daft.
You're not up for it now?
No, I'm not up for it because I think getting to the playoffs is tough anyway for certain teams. So to get there and then to be like 3rd or 4th and go, oh, by the way, you're all right, but the 5th team, you've got to play 8th, who finished 27 points behind you. Yeah. Like, come on. And again, in that format, any game, anyone can beat anyone on any day. We've known that. But
well, look at Sunderland. You mentioned them earlier on, how far they fell behind Sheffield United and Burnley last season and Leeds United, yet they still managed to get up into the Premier League. And they would argue that they've done a very good job, but they might have finished 4th, but their points differential might be similar next year to who finishes in.
But key to what they've done, I mean, the infrastructure is there. Maybe that's a different case here in Sunderland.
So
There's massive investment this summer.
They had the likes of Bellingham and the
which they allowed to leave, by the way. But they regenerated that money. Xhaka coming in. They've made some excellent signings.
About being disrespectful to Millwall, because it's actually a club that I really enjoy playing at. But who at Millwall is anyone in the Prem looking to take at this moment in time? So, you know what I mean? In those topper teams, there's a few young players that go, oh, he might make it, or actually, this centre midfielder might make it, or that striker might make it. You don't get that in the middle pack.
I think it's an example of how desperate they are, though, isn't it? The Championship to sort of get involved in this big pot of money. And obviously, the regulator, the changes that are afoot here. We do need to look at the bigger picture for how we sort of distribute the wealth. Well, that's to Division 1 and Division 2 also.
Yeah, a conversation starter. And the Premier League, as we've already mentioned, the FA would have to agree to it. I think the issue here is that you always get, when something is successful, you sort of just accept it as the norm and you just go, yeah, okay, we'll keep it as it is. There's no reason why you can't explore something. You don't have to do it, but there's no reason why you can't talk about it and talk through the scenarios. What you shouldn't do is rush to it and make it happen and now decide that that's going to happen from next season. Because actually, out of all of the inventions that have ever happened to the league structure, this is the best one. No, 100%. It's the best thing that has ever happened to promotion and relegation.
But they're huge games, aren't they?
Yeah, the one thing that they should look at, and this should be getting pushed. So when you see the League 1 and League 2 playoffs, naturally the fan bases aren't as big and they can't sell out Wembley the whole way. Why don't you start now giving those tickets, those spare tickets, to kids, to get young kids to start saying, look, I know you like your Arsenals, I know you like your Chelseas, but have a look at these drama. There's different types of football. And that's what they need to worry about, getting more eyeballs on it instead of worrying about the pound note.
Okay, special guest in the studio in the next few minutes. So whatever you do, don't turn over. This is talkSPORT.
Every spring, sports fans in Europe come together to celebrate arguably rugby's biggest annual tournament, the Six Nations. But why is it the home nations, plus France and Italy, and no one else? It all started back in 1871 when Scotland beat England in the very first international rugby match. A few years later, when they could field a team, Wales decided they'd host England and an idea was thought up. With Ireland keen, they formed the Home International Championship, which ran from 1883. In 1910, France was allowed to join, as they were developing into a serious rugby nation, and thus the Five Nations was born. France had an interesting history with the championship. They were actually booted out for paying their players in 1931, when the home nations were keen to keep it amateur. After World War II, though, France were let back in, but it remained a closed shop for more than 50 years. And when another country was let in, it was only really because the Five Nations hand had been forced. Italy was developing into a serious contender, beating Scotland, France and Ireland twice in the same year, meaning in 1999 officials got together and said yes to Italy, and it became the Six Nations. So what changes, if any, come next? 7 nations? 8? A promotion and relegation system? Or should we leave it alone and let it remain the great rugby tradition it's become?
This is talkSPORT with Sam Matterface with Troy Deeney, as usual on a Friday. No Saltmeister today, but Martin Keown is here, and so is Dan Tiles. So it's time now to catch up with all the latest odds, all thanks to BetMGM.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit BetMGM.co.uk or download the app. 18+GambleAware.org.
So last week we were delighted because he was back off his holiday. Today, a rare treat for us, Troy.
Oh.
He's in the studio. Dan Towles is here.
He's in the flesh. He's glowing as well, the boy, isn't he?
Yeah, the makeup artist has done a lot of work, hasn't she? Crikey, she's just gone out to John Lewis to restock her bag. How are you?
Oh, really pleased I've arrived.
Dan tried to get me cancelled this week.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't.
You did?
I didn't.
What did you do?
I didn't. I was trying to give you content for the TV.
I can understand that, Dan.
We were doing, obviously, it was half-time in the Serbia game, and I got a text message saying, if you need some content for the second half, I've got a stat for you.
You're trying to concentrate, by the way.
I was trying to concentrate at this time, yeah, absolutely. You're not getting distracted. And what was the content that you wanted me to read out?
So the stat was...
Noni Madueke
was the first England player to score with all of the vowels in his name since Paul Gascoigne in 1997 in a 1-0 victory versus Moldova.
And if I'd said that, Troy, what would have happened?
You'd have been wrong.
Not wrong, I've just been wronged for a long, long time.
I can't take credit for the stat, but I thought it was very good. But you chose not to use it.
It's a good stat, but I chose to editorialise and not to bring it to air, at the time.
I'll continue feeding you content in future.
which I am looking forward to. And I'm also looking forward to the big Premier League weekend as well. And BetMGM are here to look ahead to the Premier League and the top sporting events. And we're going to start with the Premier League. Angie's first game back in charge of Forest now. At Arsenal. What do you reckon?
It is, yeah. The Gunners won the fixture 3-0 last year, but as you mentioned, Ange and former Spurs manager adds a little bit of spice to it. Arsenal, the 4-11 favourites, as you'd expect. Forest 15-2. It'd be interesting to see how Forest go into this game, especially they were talking this morning about is he going to change his style of play? I think you mentioned it earlier as well. He did in the final for the Europa League, but let's see how Ange turns up at the Emirates tomorrow. Bournemouth-Brighton. Brighton have won 5 of the last 6 meetings. I saw Bournemouth at Spurs a couple of weeks ago, and I was really impressed.
Yeah, they were unbelievable.
They were well drilled. They worked really hard, and every time they went forward, I thought they were going to score.
David Brooks is excellent.
He is.
Just signed a new deal yesterday. Yeah,
he's very
Never
good.
spoken about. He was very, very good.
Incredible when you consider the number of players have gone from the club.
Exactly.
You know, what is it? Nearly £200 million worth of transfer gone out the door, and they're still really effective.
Just highlights how good he is.
Yeah, he does.
It's about Brighton, mate. They're well, aren't they?
I think. Well, the victory got Man City. I think we needed it because why are you laughing?
Just because you remember I said that they'll finish like 8th, 10th, and you was like, no, has to be Europe.
It has to be Europe. He does it, and I'll still maintain that. And the victory against Man City was important because we got.
Should have beaten Everton, really, shouldn't you?
We should have beaten them. We should have beaten Fulham with a last-minute goal that they scored, and it's just
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Exactly. So yeah.
How many points have you got? 4.
4. Yeah. So mid-table.
That's about right.
It's about right, yeah. And then I just wanted to touch on Everton Villa. Obviously, all the talks about Grealish, 4 assists in his opening 3 games. Villa, the only team yet to score in the Premier League so far this season. Villa go into the game as 7-5 favourites, and Villa at 41-20, so just over 2-1. Villa with Europe, do you think they could struggle with the European competition and everything else?
Obviously, I'm working this game for talkSPORT tomorrow, so worked their game against Brentford, was really disappointed with how they basically had too many 10s. Everyone was trying to come inside the pitch, no width, just came very predictable. Ollie Watkins looks a little bit like he needs someone pushing him, like a Durant, like a Rashford.
Yeah.
He's a little bit complacent. But I think that the transfers that they did, while it won't be a great window for Aston Villa, Harvey Elliott is very, very good. I'm excited to see him playing more regularly. Sancho, I think, offers some width. While he might not be great, I think he'll be very good. And then Lindelof at centre-back, because when Konza's not there, you struggle to find who's next to him. Tyrone Mings hasn't been great.
No.
Pau Torres is about as quick as me now. So, it's going to be interesting. And typically, knowing it's true though. I'm quite quick. That's what I was going to say. I just think when you look at it now, I'd expect that there should be goals in this game, but knowing my luck, it'll be a 0-0.
I obviously have a life sometimes, but I did spend the first part of the international break doing depth charts for all of the clubs, and I noticed that they're quite light in central midfield. Aston Villa, Boubacar Kamara and Andre Amadou Onana. Apart from that. Yeah, they're quite light there. I mean, Tielemans obviously...
he doesn't like putting Tielemans in there, do he? He likes to keep him up.
I think McGinn's a great player. I think he's very good. But you're right, something's not quite ticking with him. And then you've got the backdrop of the Martinez thing over the transfer windows. Just perception-wise, it just seems a little bit unsettled.
Don't you think they'd be delighted now, though, Emery, that the transfer window is over?
Oh, yeah.
You can settle down and start to play some football. I mean, Everton, though, have had a great start to the season with a really reduced squad as well. David Moyes is creating magic there for me.
And they've got the extra incentive of the new stadium and that as well, which I think will be good for them going forward.
Yeah.
Okay, as much as we've loved chatting to you, we do have to get on with the job in hand.
7 minutes longer than we wanted.
Exactly. Speed it up.
Each week we are placing a prediction on some of the upcoming games on Golden Goals. If we correctly guess the exact scoreline, BetMGM will donate £500 to our chosen charity, Prostate Cancer UK. But first, here is a message from the absent Saltmeister.
Good morning, boys, from sunny Wakefield Golf Club in Berkshire. Well, it was a good morning until I got a message from Joe, the referee, telling me that he didn't need a Golden Goals prediction from yours truly on this Friday morning. Absolutely scandalous, Dan Towse. As the man who put the most in the pot last season, I had a guaranteed winner for you today. Maybe BetMGM are running scared. Either way, I'll get over it. The golf was terrible yesterday in the rain. Not my conditions. Hopefully it'll be much better today. But I won't forget this, Dan. Next time you're begging me to come to one of your events at Royal Ascot and entertain your customers in the box there, or pleading with me to sit with you at the darts and keep you company, well, maybe I might just be washing my hair those nights.
It looks like he needs more than just to wash it there.
Doesn't he? Well, do you know what? When you took him to the hairdressers in Manchester the other week, I thought it was a different bloke.
Yeah, well, it almost was.
Well, he wasn't.
A lot's happened since then. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he will turn you down at some point, but not in this lifetime. Okay, so what have you got for us in terms of Golden Goals?
Golden Goals, free-to-play game on the app, no deposit required. players can win up to 250 grand if they correctly predict 6 scores. But as we always say, we try and win some money for prostate cancer. 3 games this weekend. We haven't got off to the season to a good start because we haven't got a correct score yet. We've got a couple of correct results, and well done you for getting the correct result in the England-Andorra game last week. That was magical. So back to the Premier League. Sam, we're going to start with you. West Ham versus Spurs.
I'm going to go for a Tottenham victory away from home against West Ham. 2-1 I'm going to go for. And how is that safe?
So go.
No full crew. Well, not no full crew, but Graham Potter was saying yesterday that he thinks the calf injury might just hamper him a little bit, might not be able to start. Somerville, first time that he's really been available for Graham Potter. Maybe he'll get him in from the start. Kudus coming back could be the difference for Tottenham Hotspur. Look, I think Fernandes gives them a different balance in midfield, really important, and Bowen obviously very productive for them. But I just think that Tottenham Hotspur, they can't afford to drop points again after dropping points against Bournemouth, and I think they'll win 2-1.
No, they can't. The last 3 West Ham Spurs matches have ended 1-1, and Spurs actually haven't won there since 2019. But a 2-1 Spurs victory is 7-1. Troy, we're coming to you for Burnley v Liverpool.
Yeah, I went big on this one. I think Liverpool 4-0. I think Burnley are going to obviously try and sit in and be safe. I was teetering on would they get a goal because of the way Liverpool started and they've been quite open. But that Arsenal result for me shows that solidness where they need to get it done. I think Isak will come off the bench. I think there's so much pressure as a striker. If you're Etikite now, you want to score. You want to stay there and make sure you're scoring. So I think they'll start well, bring Isak on, and I think he scores when he comes on as well. So 4-0 for me. No slight on Burnley, but just how good Liverpool have been.
Little stat, Mo Salah's never scored at Turf Moor.
Oh, that's an anytime bet for me then.
4-0 Liverpool is around the 11-1 mark, 21-2. And Martin, we've given you the Manchester derby. Manchester City versus Man United.
That's nasty. That's very nasty from you, what you done.
Yeah, I'm going to... sounds like the same scoreline, Sam. I'm going to choose 2-1 Man City. I think they've still got enough to beat, let's just say, a Man United in complete transition. But Man City, I think Haaland would, fresh from the goals he scored, playing in midweek for his national team, that, he'd be full of confidence.
Yeah, Man City to beat Man United is 2-1. Man United, the only team to win the league after losing 2 of the first 3 games, which I think was mentioned this morning.
Nice question. Why does Sam keep getting the really obvious ones? Just saying.
What, West Ham Spurs? Do you think that's
really obvious?
England Andorra.
West Ham beat Forest 3-0, didn't they? In their last, was it 3-0 with
but the manager was leaving. I'm thinking it's going to be a bit more.
Do you know what? Next week you can choose your game.
That'd be nice.
We'll do that. We'll let you choose your game. Yeah,
that's a first. Yeah.
Thanks to come to the bullying, Dan.
Yeah, so
well, it's suggestions.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like Alex Crook today. I feel big tonight.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
You decide what games Troy gets. God, don't let him bully you.
Doing that for a while, mate, no.
So all 3 games, those scores comes in at 7-1, but like we always say, let's try and win some money for prostate cancer.
Just quickly on the BMW PGA Championship update, what's the latest?
Yeah, Alex Crook's not playing there, is he, at Wentworth?
I wouldn't have thought so.
No. I went there a couple of years ago. It's an amazing place. Did you play the Pro-Am?
Yeah.
How did you get on?
Great fun.
Yeah?
Great fun. Yeah, very, very good.
He didn't tell you how you got on there,
No, he didn't. Great fun.
I only nearly killed one person, but other than that, there's a day though, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You just get to be appreciative of how good these guys really are. They've got it on a string, man. It's really good.
They have. Overnight leader was Ludwig Oberg. He was on 8 under. He doesn't tee off till 12:45. He still remains the favourite at 29-10. Clubhouse leader is coming on 9 under, but Rory's had a little bit of a disastrous start. He was 8-1 this morning. He's out to 40, and I think he's 2 over before I just come in the studio.
Wow.
So we'll see how it goes. But it all leads up to Ryder Cup in a couple of weeks. And
Rory's just pulled one back there.
Has he pulled one back now?
Yeah. Just before we let you go, we could do a bit where you reenact that scene from that gig the other week where, the guy gets caught with the girl. The affair.
Listen,
Coldplay thing.
Considering I've been divorced, I don't ever want to get caught with a girl again.
You're going to Coldplay tonight. Who are you grabbing hold of tonight at Coldplay?
How do you know I'm going to Coldplay tonight?
Everyone knows.
This is
There's only reason you're in London is for that. You don't act like you came in here to do some work.
I had a meeting first thing this morning. I'll come and do this. Got a meeting after this,
and then I'm going to Coldplay.
I've settled up my debt, by the way.
Have you?
John sent me yesterday. I've settled up my debt, so my $5,000 from last year has been paid to charity.
Wow,
right. That's good.
What?
No, I appreciate that.
Was that
Remember last year because I missed the darts. So I said I would match the pot whatever we did, and we ended up getting £5,000. So that's my £5,000.
I missed the darts as well.
Well, you're just not as nice as
you were
me,
working.
I was working.
Clearly not as nice as
I wasn't actually invited to play. I'll be surprised. I probably would clear up and win it anyway.
You can come next year, Marty. I am going to Coldplay, and I'm taking the missus. So if I've got my arms around anyone else, I don't think it's going to go down.
Try and behave yourself. That's all thanks to BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+, gambleaware.org.
We've got to speak to a couple of managers who have been doing their press conferences this morning. That's coming next here on talkSPORT.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences. That.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Game day returns this weekend. We've got live commentary of Arsenal against Nottingham Forest and Brentford against Chelsea. We'll hear from Enzo Maresca on the programme very shortly. It's Sam Matterface, Troy Deeney and Martin Keown with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. Let's turn our attention to Sunday. Liverpool aiming to preserve a 100% record. They go away to Turf Moor. But will Alexander Isak be fit? Here's Arne Slot.
First of all, I think the Swedish manager Jon Dahl Tomasson deserves a big compliment, because he gets one of the best, maybe the best striker in the world in, and needs to play 2 very important games for his country, but understands that if he would play him twice 90 minutes, then probably the player would have been injured for multiple weeks, and that's not always easy for a manager, that he takes care of the interest of a player. And so he deserves a big compliment for that. And we will treat Alex the same as they did. So don't expect him to be every single game 90 minutes on the pitch. That's definitely not going to happen in the upcoming weeks. He missed a proper preseason. I think he missed 3 or 4 months of team sessions. And so now we have to build him up gradually, with us playing so many games, hardly any training time. So that's going to be a challenge, but we've signed him not only for the upcoming 2 weeks, we've signed him for I think for 6 years.
That's Arne Slot speaking about Alexander Isak, giving credit to Jon Dahl Tomasson for getting him ready for those games that Sweden had to play last week. Burnley unbeaten at home since May 2024, rarely lose heavily. But do you think if you're Alexander Isak, you want to get back playing again this weekend? Is this a good fixture for you to come into?
Oh, it's a great fixture as a striker, but I think he's going to be coming in, 15, 20 minutes towards the end.
Swedish fans not happy with him at the moment because he wasn't.
Yeah, I can see
fit for their big games.
I can see that point, and I'm sure that's some of that's disappointing for Alex as well. But he ultimately had to get his deal over the line. I don't think it's a case of him not being fit, but it's not being up to the level, and he would have been. Because there's being fit and there's being match fit, and Martin will attest to this. They're 2 completely different things, aren't they? Being fit and being match fit. I think for Liverpool, it's a great game. You can ease him in. You've got a Champions League coming up as well. Ease him in there. Probably ease him in one more game, and then expect to start him 2 weeks from now.
Burnley looks good, doesn't it? You can see him maybe coming from the bench. Ekitike is another great talent. So interesting where Szoboszlai will play, whether Frimpong comes back into the team, because he was obviously been bought to be the right back. Szoboszlai just showing the sort of inspiration you need to show if you're in a Liverpool jersey. There have been 3 really great victories from Liverpool. Going in front, first game of the season against Bournemouth, pegged back against Newcastle, late winner as they got there, and then the winner against Arsenal. So they're showing all the ingredients, and the icing on the cake is Isak, because he's a wonderful talent. He's rapid, really affects strikers. He could the actual strength in his shooting from distance. He's got everything he needs. He just needs to be nurtured. So of course he's talking glowingly about the Sweden manager who didn't want to use him. Interesting, Sweden lost their game in Kosovo. Which was a huge shock to us with Elanga as well to choose from. So no, but Isak is a signing obviously for the future.
I'm interested to see how him and Mo Salah get on in terms of penalty taking. There's that conversation around that. Also, Salah likes to cut in and shoot first, doesn't he? He's not necessarily assist first in his thought process. I wonder how they'll get on. But if them two can connect, oh my God, Liverpool are more or less wrapped up the title.
Where does his absence leave Newcastle United? Their home games so far have been pretty dramatic. Wolves' porous defence. The visitors this Saturday at 3 o'clock. Another high-scoring affair is possible. Whatever happens, Eddie Howe wants Newcastle to get back to winning ways.
I think it is a huge game for us in our season, in our Premier League season, because it's been a slow start in terms of results. I don't think it's been a slow start necessarily in terms of performances, but we need to build momentum into our season very, very quickly. The level is so high, and Wolves will be difficult and dangerous opponents for us. They gave us 2 really good games last year, tight games. And they were more than in those games, and we know and fully respect them, know their quality. So, as always, when we play at home, the environment's always a very special one. We need the supporters with us, as they have been in every moment. And hopefully with the quality that we have in the squad, we can get back to winning ways.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good game tomorrow. Game Day Live with Adrian Durham will take you round the grounds, including that game between Newcastle United and Wolverhampton Wanderers. And right at the end of the day, more live commentary for you from 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Brentford against Chelsea, who haven't won at Brentford in their last 3 league attempts. And Enzo Maresca was asked whether or not he'll think about trying to tighten up his defence.
I always said the same to the players since the day one. We attack good, we create chances, we can be dangerous if we build in the right way with defenders. And we defend well if we press well with the attacking player. So it's not about how we defend, how we attack. For me, it's about all the team. You can create chances, building in the right way with Levi, with Tosin, with Trev, with Wes, with the ones that they build our style. And we can defend better if previously Nicolas or Liam now or Joao now or Cole or Pedro, this guy, they press in the right way. So it's about all the team. We are happy in the way we are defending. We are happy in the way we are attacking, knowing that we said before, it's always try to evolve or to always try to improve.
That was Enzo Maresca speaking about Chelsea and hoping that they can get over the line against Brentford tomorrow night. You'll find out live on talkSPORT because that's one of 2 exclusive commentaries from the Premier League. We've got an exclusive interview for you next because Troy Deeney has sat down with Callum Hudson-Odoi. Stick around.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, You effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think. talkSPORT on a Friday. It's Sam Matterface with Troy Deeney and Martin Keown. Let's look ahead to this weekend's Premier League action with Trustford.
White and Jordan's Premier League weekend preview on talkSPORT with Trustford. Discover the world of Trustford for you at trustford.co.uk.
And Troy Deeney has been sitting down in the last couple of days with Nottingham Forest winger Callum Hudson-Odoi ahead of their game live on talkSPORT tomorrow away at Arsenal. And Troy started off by asking Callum what he made of the departure of Nuno Espirito Santo.
Yeah, I think obviously with me and him it was very close. We had a good bond. I think we spoke about everything in every situation, whether it was on the pitch, off the pitch. I think it was just trying to get to know me more and trying to understand him as well as a coach, understand what his ideas were and everything like that. So for myself, it improved me a lot. I think it matured my game a lot and made me understand a lot more about the game and knowing what to do to try and be better in positions when we're getting close to the goal and defending. So yeah, he had a massive impact on me, I'll be honest, and I think that there was it's a sad day to see what happened, but at the end of the day, excited for the new chapter as well, and I wish him nothing but the best for the future.
Yeah, and it's football, isn't it? Unfortunately, people move on, and we've both been in this game long enough to know that. I just wanted to touch on the ownership model, because you've just signed a new contract, right, last week. And I'm looking at it from afar. It feels like you must have decided to the ownership with Edu and Mr. Maradakis and what they want to do. Do the players feel that pressure? You've been at Chelsea, you know what it's like to play under pressure. Do the players now feel that pressure from the ownership?
No, I think sometimes they're very relaxed. They're very easy. They're not very intense in terms of like stuff with contracts and everything. They just want to make sure that you're comfortable and you're happy with what everything's going on and how you're feeling at the club and everything. And I think that obviously for us footballers, that's what you want to feel like. You don't want to feel like you're being put under pressure or feel a type of way. But yeah, they're very good people to speak to, have conversations with them, and they're very nice. So I think for us footballers, we're just playing our bit, doing what we can do on the pitch, and that's the most important thing. And then hopefully you get the stuff afterwards which come with it, which is obviously a bonus, but at the same time, yeah, everyone's good. Everyone's no pressure.
Well, that's great to hear, because obviously you hear a presentation of what's going on of the ownership. And then obviously just touching it back on you signing a 3-year deal. What made you think that Forest is home?
That's the word you said, home. I think like coming here, it's just I felt comfortable, do you know what I mean, from day one. I think that the boys, since I've been here, just made me feel comfortable. I feel at home, feel welcomed by everybody. And I think the whole community here is amazing. The fans here are exceptional. So I think it made it more easy for me just to be like, yeah, this is the place. I already call it home. Why am I going to leave home? Do you know what I mean? So I just felt comfortable, felt happy with everything. And as I said, yeah, happy to be here.
Well, the club's moved on. Obviously, Ange Postecoglou has come straight in. I believe it's his first session this morning. Did you make a few calls to any of the lads that used to play? Or have you one of those guys who just deal with Ange Postecoglou when he gets into the building?
Yeah, I just wait to see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just wait and see how he is. And as I said, yeah, it was a session. It was a session, I'll be honest. But yeah, it was good. It's good. Like, I think for us, you rather wait and see what happens than to be asking so many questions because everyone has different opinions. So I'd rather just wait and see myself and judge it for myself, yeah. So yeah, it was good.
So you just said that it was a session. He's known for his intensity, he's getting up the pitch. Is it fair to say as an assessment from the outside that it's a complete culture change, right? Did you see that on day one?
Yeah. After that session we had, I was like, yeah, that was a session. I can't even lie to you. But yeah, as you said, for us, it's like, it's building that relationship with him early and getting them that stuff of ideas of what he wants to bring into the team. And obviously for us, as I said, as players, when the manager comes in, you have to make sure that you get that quickly because games happen fast and there's one coming on Saturday. So for us, it's just making sure we're ready, we're prepared, and make sure that everyone's just knowing what he wants us to do and trying to hopefully imply that in the game.
Well, obviously for you as a wide player, it must be exciting, right? Because he wants high pressure, ball out wide to the wingers and allow you to take on your defenders, which is obviously your game. So are you excited about that personally?
Definitely. I think even like, you just know from when you even watching when he was doing at Tottenham, you can see how quick the ball gets out to the wingers. And as for any winger, you would love a 1v1 every time, trying to get past your guy or beat him 1v1 and then try and get a crossing or a shot in, wherever it is. But yeah, I think like, as I said, when you're watching it and you've seen it, you're like, okay, this is exciting times. And then as I said, hopefully it works out perfectly for us as well.
Yeah, we don't do hopefully. Hopefully it's for the unprepared.
It's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. It's gonna work out.
All right. The club is back in Europe for the first time in nearly 30 years. Obviously, at 24 years old now, you are probably the most experienced in Europe. A, how has that been for the club and the transition in the 2 years that you've been there? But B, how now is it at 24 years old, you're kind of one of the senior guys? How does that change your opinion talking to players who are probably a little bit older but have never been in this situation?
Yeah, it's different. I think obviously when you've played in it like in numerous amount of years and then it's like, okay, then you've won the competition and you've played in it and then you've won another one and it's like, okay, you're here now and then a lot of players haven't played in it or won it themselves, so then it's like, oh, you're trying to give that advice or like trying to speak to them about it. And as you said, I feel like one of the older players. I don't know why. I was still young, do you get what I mean? But like, I feel like one of the more experienced and older players because, as you said, I've been in the playing for so long now. So it's just like, I'm trying to just help all the ones that are a bit younger than me who haven't played in this situation or been in this situation and trying to help them and give them advice. But as I said, it's a competition where, as you said, we're back in Europe. It's going to be massive for the club, massive for the fans, massive for us. So hopefully we can go all the way. That's the most important, as you said. So we're going to try our best.
Was the best bit of business keeping the skipper, Morgan Gibbs-White? Was that the best bit of business you've done so far?
I think it was me, you know. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No, I think Morg staying is an amazing thing. Do you know what I mean? He's an amazing player. You can see the quality he has and top player to play with and to be around. So yeah, I'll definitely say, yeah, like it's amazing for him to be here, still playing with him. Remember, I've known him since I was like 16. So I've been playing with him since England time. So yeah, it's been a long time. So yeah, great player to play with, and hopefully it keeps going.
I'll say you're 1A, he's 1B. That's fair.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then just looking ahead to the weekend, like the football gods couldn't have written a better script for us in the media. Like when you look Arsenal away, Ange Postecoglou's first game. How is that for you guys now, managing that expectation? Because there's going to be, as you've alluded to, a completely different style now that you're going there with. Does it put more pressure on you guys or not?
I think it's going to be pressure. I wouldn't say it's not. I wouldn't say high pressure, but I think it's pressure. I think at the end of the day, you're going there to try and get a result. And I think obviously, as you said, new style of football, new ideas is always going to be not always the most perfect way to do it in the first game. You're never always going to get perfect. You might get great, but it might be difficult to get perfect. So I think it's just going there, doing as much as we can, preparing as much as we can, so when we get there, we're doing enough and doing what he's told us to do, and hopefully he gets the best out of it and we get the result in the game.
That's Callum Hudson-Odoi speaking to Troy Deeney yesterday, and all of us were gripped by that interview, and we've been discussing little facets of it outside. So let's bring that conversation to air. The thing that sort of had us all sort of startling was the bit about the session when he sort of rather animatedly said, yeah, we've definitely had a session. Wednesday morning, what's the wisdom of doing a session that intense?
The wisdom would be probably the last day you can work. Normally do 2 days out, don't you, Martin? 2 days out is more tactical, what we do versus what they do. So I think it's the last day to get some work into the players. I think there's an element of Ange trying to set his bar out as well. Like, here's what I expect on a day-to-day. I spoke about it earlier. My worry is that they haven't had that type of pre-season. And if you have, again, I've been at Watford where we change managers. If you haven't had a pre-season designed for high intensity, loads of volume in the legs in terms of sprinting, and then you go into that, you normally see people starting to fall away. A lot of hamstrings, a lot of calves. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, it's just, look, I want to give Ange a chance.
Of course.
And he's got...
We didn't at 10 o'clock.
Well, no, I said I was sceptical about whether or not this would work or not. And it's like, and of course he comes back with the fact that he wins a trophy everywhere he goes. But, you know, when I'm hearing a lot about the manager, and it's like when you go to a new club, and we've all been there in the dressing room, new manager comes in, the Churchillian speech, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, I'm this, I'm that. It's a little bit, when Wenger did this when he came to Arsenal, he sat back and told us how good we were, and then we were on trial. Yeah. Not this situation. It feels like the manager becomes one on trial when he's telling us what we're going to do. Now, if we're spending the first day, Wednesday, which is just a couple of days away, I'm sorry, boss, it's not about you. We're preparing. You're coming in a bit late. We're not running our nuts off trying to press. I imagine Hudson-Odoi was pressing now, and he's like, hold on a minute, that's a wake-up call. You want me to press in this situation? What, we're doing this Wednesday? Now, it is the work day, the way they work now. You get Thursdays a rub down as you don't do too much. And he has to stitch in information, but it sounds like he's gone in there, and he's like, right, okay, this is me. This is my identity. This is what I want. It's going to be very interesting to see how they react to that at the weekend, because they played in a completely different way. He did also say that the previous manager was someone he admired, somebody he had really brought the best out of him, and it was a really sad day for the football club when he went. So they've got all that emotion to deal with and then still get a result at Arsenal.
And he's pretty good with players and pretty good at getting people on side inside the organisation. And you look at the outpouring of grief when he left Tottenham Hotspur and what the players were saying about him there. So he can forge connections too, but he's got to do that very quickly in a short space of time to get everybody on side ahead of an Arsenal game on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's a tough game as well. I said to Hudson-Odoi, like, the media gods are happy because the storyline and the narrative's completely changed. We'd be looking at this as are Forest going to be back on track? Can they still do what they did last year if Nuno was still in charge? And will this be the game that Arsenal kick on and their season goes? Now it's the old Spurs manager Spurs manager at Arsenal. He gets all of this narrative. But for me, I do think Ange looks after his players a lot. And Martin alluded to it a little bit earlier. He'll stand in front of people. When they were going through their bad patch, it was blame me, not the players.
And they did start well at Spurs. They finished fifth, didn't they, in his first season? But the way that they capitulated in that second season,
mainly down to injuries.
Yeah, and he ultimately lost his job. And he's going sort of the dynamic of going to a club which, you know, finished 7th. He was 17th, and he's now going into that role. It's not going to bother him, by the way, because his ego is such that he'll embrace it. And he's been given another opportunity. But I do feel that the previous manager at Forest, he's been hard done by. You know, like he's having to give up a role. He's done it exceptionally well, Nuno, and he's pushed out the door. Look, all gone. The king is dead. Long live the king. That's how it works in a dressing room. And that group of Forest players have got to be ruthless now to get a result tomorrow.
I mean, there's a lot of change, isn't there, at Nottingham Forest this year. They've brought in Hutchinson, Hudson-Odoi, Bakwa, McAtee, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Savona, Igor Jesus, Jair Cunha, John Victor, Cuibano, Douglas Luiz. Alexander Zinchenko can't play because he's on loan from Arsenal. Angus Gunn. That's a lot of players.
How many of those have played yet? One? Of those new signings,
Dan Ndoye's played. I think McAtee's made his debut as well.
Off the bench.
They're off the bench. They're not starters.
No, Ndoye started.
Ndoye started,
but the others, because he's replaced
only
Elanga.
one player, one out of a group of seven.
But I think
you've lost Elanga, you've lost Danilo, you've lost Roman Sosa. The people that you've lost, actually, you're probably looking down the list and thinking, fair enough.
But my point is, what's that? Seven signings that they've bought.
More than that,
maybe 8. What have you got?
11
new signings to compensate over two competitions. But now, as a manager, those 11 players are going, oh my God, there's a chance. And we've both been there when a manager changes. These 11 players will be training unbelievably well Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that they probably didn't last week Wednesday. So now there's a wonderful environment for Ange to come in. Yes, there's a load of things for the old manager, but he can actually go, well, I can put these new guys in because they're showing me something else. So for the new guys, it's a new manager. He's trying to change his style. Maybe I can play in that.
He's got impact on the group.
Yeah,
that's what he's looking to do. But as I say, they were building something a little bit special. You know, the dirty dozen, as I often call them, thrown together, this group. You know, every single player, even Wood up top. You know, Newcastle said, you know, you're not at our level. Hudson-Odoi. You know, Chelsea slapped his Achilles. Okay, it's not for us. They all had a way back into the game, and this manager is exactly the same, wasn't he? He was the Spurs manager showing the door. Now it's going to have to be a different dynamic, and it's going to be about the structure. But they're still a decent team. Anderson we know how well he's played. They got him for £15 million.
Well, they got Hudson-Odoi for about £3 million. I mean, they've done some great recruitment back in the day. They've got 4 away games to start the Postecoglou reign. He sort of joked about that yesterday, didn't he? He said it's good to go and have a look around the stadium because I won't see it for a few weeks. But they've got Arsenal away, Swansea away in the League Cup. They've got Burnley away, Real Betis away in their first European game on match day 1 before they entertain Sunderland on the 27th of
It's a huge game, that, by the way.
Yeah,
home game.
Could well be. That was a look ahead to this weekend's Premier League action with Trustford.
White and Jordan's Premier League weekend preview on talkSPORT with Trustford. Discover the world of Trustford for you at trustford.co.uk.
Jack is back. Let's see how he gets on tomorrow.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans that's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defences. That.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
You don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
Those two seem to be having a good day. Like making friends, are you? You two?
Yeah, just football chat. You know, it's
Good,
nice
I
to
like
talk
it.
to another footballer, not Crookie.
He's a golfer, isn't he?
We missed him when he's not here. Tomorrow, Game Day Live takes you round the grounds from 2:30, including games involving Fulham Leeds, Newcastle Wolves, and Everton versus Villa. We'll get to that in just a second here on talkSPORT with Sam Matterface, Martin Keown, and Troy Deeney with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. And Villa have yet to win this season, but have played better maybe than results suggest, although it hasn't been perfect. Everton started the season well at home anyway, and Aston Villa have got to contend with the return of the Premier League's Player of the Month, Jack Grealish, who won it ahead of Ekitike and a few others. What have you made of Jack Grealish and his return to form?
Yeah, it's really pleasing, isn't it, to see a player with that kind of quality that was, you know, you want to play. That's the oxygen when you're picked in the team to play your football. And Jack sort of had to sit and watch for far too long. And he comes to an Everton team, David Moyes. It seems a perfect match for him. He's taken him on board. And they've gone from strength to strength. You know, he's in a team with Beto up front. Again, another player who was not really fancied before David Moyes got to work with him. Njai, I think he does a great job tucking into midfield.
Lovely player.
Alcaraz, a good acquisition. Garner's even playing at fullback at the moment. I think O'Brien will eventually end up as a central defender. So there's a kind of people in emergency roles.
Yeah, there is, especially
but
at the back at the moment.
I think going to the new stadium, Hill Dixon Stadium.
Hill
not sure
Dickinson.
About Dickinson. I'm not sure about the name, but anyway.
It's a firm of solicitors.
10 years, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, we're giving them some publicity now. So there they
They
go.
have paid for it.
Yeah, I don't know if they did pay for it, but they're certainly paying now. But yeah, I think it's a good step for Everton going into their new stadium. It's a part of a new beginning, and David Moyes, of course, so much a part of the past. But it's really important that he's there right now.
They also signed a new player from Germany who they really like, actually. In his first training session, he sort of came in and everybody sort of came off the pitch and said, yes, he is a player. His name's Merlin Roll. Look out for him. He's 23 years of age. He plays in midfield. But they already have a wizard in Jack Grealish, don't they? What have you thought of his performances this season, bearing in mind he seems to be playing with a little bit more freedom?
Love it. He's obviously come back with that framework that Martin alluded to there from David Moyes. Is we're going to be solid behind you, and as soon as we can, we give the ball to Jack. We worked the first game, didn't we, against Leeds.
Yep.
They looked really poor. They looked null of ideas. Second and third and fourth game.
I went to the second game against Brighton, and they started off a little bit sort of shy, and then they grew into that match.
As soon as they're giving him the ball now, there's there's an excitement around not only the players but the fan base. The fan base have taken to him. Also, as well, you know, I know this firsthand. He won't mind said he's not even up to full speed yet in terms of fitness. Bear in mind, he hasn't played a lot over the last couple of years as much as he'd like to. So I think this international break come at a good time. Got some more energy in the legs. Just celebrated his birthday as well, hasn't he? So is he 30 now, Jack? He's officially old.
Did you get to go to his 30th birthday party? That's the big question.
I don't go out anymore. I'm old man. But 30 years old, one player of the month at a team that loves you, with a manager that loves you, and a fan base that loves you, against your old team, you couldn't ask for a better game, could you, this weekend?
You're not that old, and if you are feeling that old, just ask Martin for tickets to Riverdance. He'll show you how to have a good time. If you don't
There's a lot you can learn from
I bet there is. You used to play for both these clubs.
Yeah, I wondered when you were going to mention that. A man of research, had a great, differing success at each club. Went to Aston Villa and we were relegated and managed to get them back up again and leave them where I found them. Everton and another great club, two great clubs really, old clubs. Everton been in that top division virtually all of the time. Villa had a few ups and downs. I do feel that for Grealish a little bit. I hope he gets a good message from the Villa fans. I know he gets hammered every time he plays them, but they did get £100 million for him. He did go and play in the Championship when a lot of players would have turned their back on the club. Sometimes these Villa fans, and I've said it before, they can be a little bit fickle. I can say that from a distance. I was there. I might have won Player of the Year two out of the 3 seasons.
Crikey, you two are going to be bonding.
No, but their fans, they tell it to your face every week. And if they're not happy, they leave in numbers, as they did recently for the recent home game. But their away fans, their core fans are magnificent. So I hope they give Jack a good reception.
That might be the best take I've ever heard from Martin ever, that Aston Villa fans are fickle. I love it.
Well, they are. I mean, the thing is, but actually, I was going there not long after they won the Champions League.
They are.
So we were following in the footsteps of some really good players.
What years did you win Player of the Year there?
I went there in 86.
Wow, that's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I was
lifetime ago.
I was born in 88. If that makes you feel any better.
No, it makes you feel worse.
If it makes you feel worse, let's start talking about Kylian Mbappe in the next section. Villa's record against Everton is strong. They won both the games against them last season, but will tomorrow be different? You'll find out on Game Day Live with Adrian Durham from 2:30.
It's not often you associate fan power with Chelsea Football Club, but one of the shining examples of it lies with a group called the Chelsea Pitch Owners. And they've proved to be the thorn in the side of owners past and present who've been dead set on moving stadiums to a larger, more lucrative piece of land. Essentially, the supporters group holds the freehold to the land on which Stamford Bridge sits. Former owner Ken Bates set it up at a time where some unruly property developers tried to evict the club from their ground. In order to prevent this, he established the CPO as a company that owned the pitch and offered the fans the chance to buy a share for £100. As well as that, they also own the rights to the name Chelsea Football Club, so if any owner wants to take them elsewhere, they can't be called Chelsea without the approval from the CPO. Now, in 2011, Roman Abramovich tried and failed to move them away from Stamford Bridge, and this has set a precedent for Todd Bowley and the current power brokers at Chelsea. They know any plan which involves moving from Stamford Bridge will require CPO approval from the now 13,000 fans who own it. There are fans who are concerned that if they stay at the bridge, they'll be left behind their domestic and European rivals who are moving to more commercially successful stadiums. But for the heritage and history lovers, Stamford Bridge is one of the iconic English stadiums, and to move away would be a grave mistake. It might not be as flashy as others, but stadiums like it have something about them that cannot be replaced. One thing's for sure, if Bowley wants to take Chelsea away from their home, he'll have to go through the CPO first.
Hello, it's talkSPORT with Sam Matterface and Troy Deeney. That's what we do every Friday. No Saltmeister today. He's playing golf, so we've got Martin Keown here instead. Twinkle Toes Keown, who's laid down his football boots and has taken up his Riverdance shoes.
Tap shoes, yeah.
Tap shoes. Is it tap? I mean, I don't know. I've never seen it.
It was a mixture, actually, in the Riverdance. So because there's
you
a
sounded
scene
very
of the Irish
knowledgeable.
going to Brooklyn, and there's a little bit of the sort of tap that comes in from America. So it's a mix. Yeah, go and see it. It's very good.
Okay, you keep trying to
enlighten yourself a little bit.
Is he on commission for the tickets or something?
I just want to celebrate the culture.
Michael Flatley, though, as a kid, my Irish grandma had the VCRs and all of that. Yeah, but I don't.
Irish grandmother. There you go.
I can't really remember.
Could you have played for Ireland?
Nah, no, because it's all political, but no. Yeah, it's short.
Okay. Kylian Mbappe is going to play for France again, and he's been speaking to L'Équipe about the football industry as an overall thing, saying that he would never encourage any child of his to follow in his football footsteps. Bit of Michael Flatley getting your head around that. He says, I'm a fatalist about the world of football, but not about life. Life is wonderful. Football is what it is. I like to say that people who go to the stadium are lucky to only come and see a show and not know what's going on behind the scenes. Honestly, if I didn't have this passion, the football world would have disgusted me a long time ago. That's the world we live in, and we can't change it. I will never advise a child of mine to step into the football world. The more money you have, the more problems you have. Is that an easy thing to say when you've got a lot of money and you've had a great football career?
Well, very much so. Of course it is. And it's very disappointing that he's reached that stage where he doesn't really trust anybody in the game or around the game. Maybe this sort of emanates from the issues he's got with PSG, money that he feels that he's due, money he may have felt that he signed for. But, he left there under a little bit of a cloud. So this is obviously, a legal dispute. But when, he's one of the best players on the planet right now, this guy. I mean, he's amongst the goals for his national team in the recent internationals, back against the goals for Real Madrid. It's not been the best of starts for him at Real Madrid, but I fully expected to pick up. But to hear one of our top players talking this way, because the game of football, it's changed my life completely. And I wouldn't wanted to have done anything else. And I would want that, as I did indeed for my own son, to go into the game, who now coaches. His career was taken and cut short for him with injuries, which you never really get over. But he's in the industry that I love most of all because of really what it gave me. So to hear this sort of one of our top ambassadors, our top players talk like this is really disappointing.
He left PSG under a bit of a cloud. There was a bit of conflict about an unpaid salary. He actually had just withdrawn his complaint of harassment against the club, but he's claiming 55 million euros in unpaid salary and bonus. Mbappe earns 12.8 million quid a season. Should parents really not want their footballers' life for their kids to dream about?
I'll be really careful because it does really invoke something in me to get so angry. It's like, put the money to one side. No one knows who Kylian Mbappe is without football. He's just another kid doing whatever he's doing. With football, you are now a global superstar, a star that my kids look at and go, they want it. I wonder what Nike think about this as well, given that they sponsor him and he does all the football stuff for them. I wonder what they think to this type of talk. Yes, you can talk about the frustration of business, but you've also done well in business. You've took a lot of money, as you just said. But talk about the pure passion of football. The pure passion of football is the fact that it's the game that we speak about. We're all employed about it. People listen to this are wondering about what happens at their club and they love it and they're passionate about it. And you said you would advise your kids to not be involved in it. Why? Because you've had a little bit of a difficult time with some legal stuff. Football is what makes you who you are. The reason we know who you are is football. The reason anyone knows who me or Martin are is football. Similar to yourself, Sam, you commentate on football. We love this sport. So for me, it just frustrates me when these players now have a sense of, righteousness that they should be telling other people, like, oh, if it wasn't, the business of football is awful. Yeah, it must be really awful, mate, on the 12.8 million a year that you get. It must kill you.
He will say he's allowed his opinion, he's allowed to express his thoughts and feelings about the game. But for us sitting here and for people, all three of us basically live in the world that we live in because we love the game of football. We spend our whole life talking about, worrying about, watching, following, travelling to see football. So we can't think of anything else apart from being involved with this game. And we feel very privileged to be involved with this game. I, in particular, feel privileged to be in the company of two people who have played the game at the level that you have. And those comments sometimes can sound a little bit out of touch with reality to people in the street who want to be involved in this game.
Because he's forgotten the reality of it is that he's an exceptional football player. And football is who you are. And me and Martin were talking off air. For me, football changed my life. It changed Martin's life. It changes hundreds of millions of people across the world's life.
That's not saying it's perfect.
But nothing is.
Nothing is, yeah.
Do you know it's interesting, when I first came into the game, I won't say the name of a player, but someone I really respected, great lad. And he said to me, be careful for the backstabbers in the game because they smile in your face. And there was never a true word spoken. But you have to know that. You have to behave. It's kind of a dog-eat-dog situation.
Every industry is, though, isn't it?
Of course it is. It could is, but I don't think it's destructive, really, to not look at overall what this game of football has done for him and what a wonderful talent he has. It's a shame. As I say, I'm totally disappointed to hear that money has really got in the way of this. He's got more money than he really knows what to do with. But he feels that someone's let him down because they made a promise at PSG and it's not been fulfilled. But I prefer him to look at the bigger picture, the World Cup finals that he's played in, how well he's done in there, how he turns up in the big games.
Was probably the best World Cup final in history.
But the problem I have, Sam, is he's put the money in front of the passion. That's the bit that gets to me because he's not saying, my take is this and I think that. He's saying, I would advise my kids to not do that. The ramifications of that is because he's such a global superstar, or what does every newspaper print? What are we talking about? Would we advise our kids not to? Of course not. He does get everyone together from every single race and creed, and there's no nonsense in between.
And that's the positive. He does go on to say, I often say that people don't know me, and a lot of what is said about me is far from the truth. So he will be careful not to misquote him here. Some people spend their entire careers waiting for recognition or for people to really know who they are. You have to learn to live with that. You waste a lot of energy if you spend your time fighting it. You'll never win. When you look at the great French athletes, they've all been torn apart by public opinion at some point. I think it's a necessary part of the process, and I'm fine with that. Is he also a little bit frustrated that he doesn't feel as if he gets the respect that he deserves.
But you don't get your respect. Sorry, Brian, go on.
Yeah, no, I just feel also as we don't want to criticise people who are open with us, and they actually, he's just like he's just got this facade that he never really shows how he's feeling, So you just have to be careful, really, with with your messaging. But if he has lost, he talks about love, and love has got him through it. Maybe some of that love has gone away when you see the way that he's playing right now, because he doesn't really play with the same freedom and expression. He started the season really well, though, so maybe now he's got this off his back. And if we can see him play great football again, he can say whatever he wants, really, But I'd rather he do his talking on the pitch, because that's when he's at his best.
Yeah, I just think you don't get respect while you're playing. You always get the love and admiration after.
Is that why you're so popular now?
No. Well, the point is, very few people, Martin, you play with some exceptional players. Very few are loved right there for the whole time that they're around.
Because that's the nature of the
beast.
society, right? Yeah. We're all very quick to just have a go at everyone. He's rubbish, he's not good enough, he's not good enough. And then when they step away, we turn around and go, do you know what? I really enjoy.
Yeah, I remember those things.
Yeah, but
that's life.
Maybe he's holding himself up against Messi and Ronaldo, and we all look at them, don't we, about the Ballon d'Ors and when how coveted they are, and he thinks to himself, do you know, I'm in that level and I don't get talked about in the same way, and do you know what, I'm disillusioned.
Deliver it then.
It's all in front of him. He can still go and do that.
Yeah, but I just think we just live in a world now of like instant gratification and moaning. Like, God, you play football for a living. You're one of the highest paid athletes in the world. Again, I said it about Kobe Manu. Shut up and play.
This is talkSPORT. If you want to get involved, 03717 223344 is the number to call. You can text us 81089 as well. Mohamed Kudus is going to play tomorrow. He's going to be back at the London Stadium, but he's going to be in a Tottenham shirt.
This is the talkSPORT Goal Show. It's the show for the fans. It's done by the fans.
Yes! Oh! Oh my God! Yes! Yes! Yes!
He is an unlocker of defensive gap.
If you've got a problem or something to say,
you don't have the right to say anything about something. I do.
This nonsense kills the game.
It's talkSPORT. Sam Matterface alongside the big boy Troy Deeney. He's here, and the Arsenal invincible River Dance.
What's going on with the voice?
River Dance fan club #1. It is Martin Keown. Chelsea have pre-agreed a deal to sign Strasbourg striker Emmanuel Emega in the summer of 2026. That's just broken. talkSPORT understands Emega signed in the spring after turning down the chance to get a move to many Champions League clubs, including some in the Premier League. The 22-year-old decided to stay for a third year at Strasbourg and play in the Conference League. At the end of the season, he will head to Stamford Bridge on a 7-year contract. Chelsea have been tracking him for a long time. I mean, they would do, wouldn't they? He's at a club that they own. The Dutch under-21 international has scored 23 Ligue 1 goals in 57 appearances, including 14 last season. Very well thought of. And Andy Brassel was in the studio a couple of weeks ago actually talking about him, suggesting, I think, that he would be the Dutch number 9 in the not-too-distant future.
Chelsea do well, don't they? The model's really good. Whether you like it or not, they've always got a continuation of young talent, and they're getting the best young talent at this moment in time.
OK, let's talk about a young talent heading back to the London Stadium. Mohamed Kudus returns to West Ham after his move to Tottenham Hotspur for 55 million quid plus add-ons. Gives a lot of intrigue to an already spicy London derby. A London derby that I don't think either of them can really afford to lose, Martin.
No, Kudus, I really like him. Last time out, I think they were a little bit disappointed in him when they lost against Bournemouth, and they sort of, I don't know, they kind of weren't up for it in the same way that they were certainly when they won away at Man City, which was an outstanding. Kudus played a major role in that. I really like the way that he's integrated into the team, the way he presses high. He's a bull of a man. The strength of him, the pace, looks like a really good acquisition. So some good work done there. Obviously, West Ham felt they needed to sell him. They had a really difficult start to the season, but were beat Forest last time out. But I think the favourite money would be on Spurs to win that one, especially the way that they played against Man City. I fancy them to go and do a repeat performance.
The only thing I would say about that, they weren't perfect when they played Burnley at home, and you were at that game, I think. They were very good when they played Manchester City because they didn't have the ball. Manchester City were taking the game to them. When they played Bournemouth, again, they were expected to have the ball and make all the running, and Bournemouth turned the ball over and did very well against them. And I just wonder, in a game where they're probably going to have a lot more of the possession, have they got the ability to be able to break down West Ham United?
Well, that was one of my 2 points. One point is when they're favoured, and it was a very poor performance against Bournemouth. Actually, Kudus was probably taking too many touches on trying to be a bit of a show pony, and the fan base weren't having it. It was like pass it and try to win. I just think with the people that they've signed, have they added too many, I was going to say colourful characters is what I describe it as. Do you know what I mean? Because Kudus is a character. You've got Tell, who they've just dropped out of the Champions League squad. You've got Simons, who's just come in, who's obviously a big personality.
First chance we get to see him.
Yeah, and the striker as well, Koulibaly as well. All talented players, but all known for being vibrant and enthusiastic, and they all want the ball, want to showcase what they can do. Look, if it's based on pure talent, those last two guys wouldn't be there. So there's something there. So I just wonder, this real test of Thomas Frank's managerial presence to keep all of those characters in.
But don't you feel? I mean, I've watched Richarlison closely for he was at Watford, wasn't he, initially, and all those years ago at Everton, and never really he flattered to deceive. He didn't, and I've seen performances from him that you could only have dreamt of until Thomas Frank's gone in there. He's looked this finishing. Some of the goals he's been scoring this season, absolutely outstanding. I think Sarr's another one in midfield. So I'm seeing
he's been brilliant.
I'm seeing people playing. I'm not having this is not Ange bashing. I'm seeing them playing a whole lot better under this manager than I did see, and I'd almost given up on some of these players. Richarlison is one of those, and now I'm seeing something else.
But also, again, with Richarlison, friend of mine, I don't want this to come across a dig, is a World Cup year. You're going to see a lot more of that now with people looking at a World Cup, looking ahead to the Brazil squad, who's Carlo Ancelotti had him at Everton. You're getting a little bit more. Do you get my point?
Yeah,
so
I get it.
He was, again, another one who was poor. Again, some of the stats around Spurs are it's interesting, Martin. I was saying, before the game before international, they haven't won since October 23.
Yeah.
That's a long
Regardless
time.
of the-
So there's that mentality of like, right, are we going to save ourselves for this weekend? I think they're going into a really interesting time at Spurs. Because if you look at the talent that they've got, just talent alone, they should be a top 4 team, just on talent.
Well, they were top 5 the year before.
I was looking at their chart. You know, look at the sheer number of players they've got that have got a lot of experience now.
Yeah.
Because obviously, despite the fact that they maybe didn't want to throw a lot of them in to the campaign last year, they had to because of injuries. So you've got Pedro Porro, probably the only real out-and-out right back, although Jed Spence can play there. And Doggy the other side. So you've got 3 fullbacks covering two positions there. But you've got Romero, Van der Ven, Danso, Davis. You've got Dragusin when he comes back from injury. Takai when he comes back from injury. You've got Archie Groves, a bit of a utility player who can play anywhere along the back line if you ask him, but also in midfield. You've got Polinia, Bentancur, Bergvall, Sarr in the middle of the park. Then you've got Kudus, Johnson, Tell, Simons, Odebear, Solanke, Kolo Muani, Richarlison. You've got a lot. He's injured at the moment, isn't he? And he's not going to be in the Champions League squad as a result of that. But Maddison as well are on the chart. But they've got a lot of players there, haven't they?
Well, they have, and it's like, and I think they've now got the right manager to work with those players. He'd have been really disappointed, by the way. By and large, you'd be happy, Thomas Frank, with the start they had, the first 2 games. But that going away to the international, losing that match. That hurt him a little bit because he's like, the message is maybe dying, but I think he'll re-emphasise that. He'll come back full of confidence with the group. West Ham could be in trouble in this one.
Yeah, I just think as well, though, again, it's overlooking it, but Matthias Tell's just been brought in last year. Didn't go well last year under Ange towards the end. Gets brought in this year. Now you bring in 3 more forward players this summer in playing this position, and I'm dropped out of the Champions League. I just think now it's going to be the first time we look at Thomas Frank from purely his managerial player handling, because that's a difficult thing to deal with, especially with a young player who's coming expected to play. Now he's not.
He's so charming, though.
He is.
I mean, you'd find yourself.
You have to be winning.
Find it very difficult to sort of like
not
fall
players.
out with him.
Not players. No, we are very egotistical, very entitled, and if we're not playing, we're going to let it be known that we're not playing.
But he said, didn't he, that it's very rare you come across total idiots. He used another word actually, and he can actually find a solution to make that player see that he's there to. I think he's a force for good.
He's a young player as well, Tell, isn't he?
Yeah.
Will he put up with a little bit more sort of sidelining as a result of that?
The opposite.
Oh, really?
As a young player, you're a bit more naive and you think you deserve it, as opposed.
It's a slap across the face for the player, isn't it? The message is, we don't want you here.
Yeah.
So but at the same time, we want you to work in the right way.
Is that the message, or is the message actually we see a future for you, but it's not right now?
Well, we're seeing bomb squads, aren't we, at every club now? Which I never really like.
No, I agree.
But I mean, it's so wasteful when all these managers come in. You change the manager. Look at the money that's been wasted at Manchester United.
Mm-hmm.
It's phenomenal.
He had to get one in. He had to get one. He's done well. There's only 3 minutes left.
To be honest, to be honest, he's been digging Ange Postecoglou out throughout the whole day. He's got a little bit in on Manchester United. He's fulfilling the salty role quite well, I think. We can get you that cap for next week.
I just think when you're Spurs, if I was to grade their window, I would say on talent, it's an A+. You've got some exceptional players.
They need more players, though.
But it could very well turn into a C- if you can't get those characters.
We'll see how it gets on. They play West Ham United at the London Stadium. No half scarves tomorrow. They're banned from the London Stadium, but Kudus is coming back. Both Potter and Thomas Frank both need a big win. Martin, thank you for joining us. We appreciated it.
Thank you very much. My old show that I was on for 3 years. Thank you for making me feel part of the team.
Yeah.
He's not salty at all. He's not salty at all.
It's nothing to do with us, Martin.
You're out of order.
You can come back whenever you like. That's it for us. I'm going to Arsenal tomorrow. Where are you off to? Everton, aren't you?
Everton tomorrow.
Big journey for you. Okay, we look forward to it. This is talkSPORT. H&J are next.